The average age of the international team is under 18. And so
the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make one or two rugby fans smile, that the Cubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
NTV ku sawemo nkwaniriza n'ekubaza kyonna gy'osobodde okutuusaako engalo ku lunaku lwaleero olw'Essande. Ennaku z'omwezi mwenda kansooke nkuwa emitwe emikulu ate mu kudda nja kuba nkubuulira ebyo ebibadde gwe gy'otabadde. Abasawo ba gavumenti ebikozesebwa bitadde wansi. Kaluma Nywera avudde ku butasasulwa mu ssaala gwabwe nga kati emyezi gisoba mu 3.
Twasobola okumunnyonnyola ne tumuyamba ne tumutegeeza ne wa gy'asobola okugenda gye basobola okumuyambira.
Okujjanjabira abalwadde awaka, abasawo abajjanjabira ku mikutu gya intaneti ne ku masimu bano tugenda bakutuusaako. Ekizinga ky'Ebuse tukuleetedde emboozi y'ekizinga ekiriko abakazi abagabira abasajja ebiyungu. Captain David Ruhinda Magulu nja kuvuganya President Museveni mu kalulu ka 2016. NTV kusawe monzira mu kwaniriza nze Patrick Mukasa. Kizuuliddwa nti abakozi b'ekitongole ky'ebyobulamu okwetoloola eggwanga lyonna naddala abasawo batandise okussa wansi ebikola lwa butasasulwa misaala. Kigambibwa nti okumala kati ebbanga lya myezi 3 abakozi tebasasulwa, kibawaliriza okulekulira emirimu gyabwe. Wano e Mulago abakozi abasoba mu 100 bebagambibwa okuba nti tebannafuna musaala, ekintu abakulu mu minisitule y'ebyobulamu kye bagamba nti kivudde ku nkola ey'okusasula empya egenda okukyusibwamu.
Okumala ebbanga lya ssaawa nnamba lye tumaze wano mu ddwaliro e Mulago mu Ward 4B, omusawo omu yekka gwe tusobodde okulaba ng'akola ku balwadde. So ng'ate mu kasenge kano ng'ano ewatuula omusawo abeera ku duty namwo temubaddemu musawo yenna, era ng'abantu bano babadde bakonkomalidde wano nga tebalina abakolako. Tweyongeddeyo mu Ward 4B ng'eno Nansi ono yekka gwe tusobodde okulabako, kyokka nga naye abadde ku mirimu mirala nnyo. Embeera gye tusanze mu ddwaliro e Mulago ekakasa ng'abasawo abali mu 100 ku ddwaliro lino basazeewo okussa wansi ebikolwa olw'obutafuna musaala gwabwe.
Kimanyi ekiri e Mulago abantu abamu basanze tebamanyi bulungi, naye abamu bagenda babategeera, abalala banyuka emirimu baffe bakyali ku nkalala ezo. Ate kati ekigendererwa kya minisitule y'ebyensimbi kkiriza twesasulira abakozi baffe kwe kulabira ddala nti tujjamu abantu ab'empewo.
Ng'okwefaananyizaako wano e Mulago ne mu disitulikiti endala nagwo bwe gutyo bwe guli.
Tororo, Namayingo, Kanungu, bitundu bingi byonna bizze bikomplaininga nga bagamba nti tebafunye misaala mu budde.
Tukitegeddeko nti abasawo abakola amalwaliro ga gavumenti okwetoloola eggwanga lyonna bakakulungula kati ebbanga lya myezi 3 nga tebafuna musaala.
Minisitule y'ebyensimbi ne gavumenti yasazeewo okujja enkalala ze basasulako emisaala gisse mu gavumenti ez'owansi n'ebitongodde ebirina board. Kati nga ekitongole ng'ekyebyobulamu ku headquarter
mu nkola eno empya eyitibwa Integrated Payroll and Personnel System. Kati minisitule y'ebyensimbi emisala gy'abakozi bonna egiweereza butereevu ku bitongole ebitali bimu, kozi gavumenti ez'ebitundu okusobola okusasula abakozi baabwe mu nkola egendereddwamu okumalawo okusasula abakozi ab'empewo.
Olumu nga babasasula essente ez'ebitundu ate abamu nga babasasula essente nnyingi ng'omwezi gumu bayinza okubasasula essente zenkana emyezi nga 6.
Wano minisitule y'ebyobulamu weesinzidde n'ekubiriza abakozi baayo okuba abakkakkamu kubanga bakola kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nga embeera etereera. Kinajjukirwa nti abakozi ba gavumenti abakola mu bitongole ebitali bimu ng'abasomesa n'abalala bazze beemulugunya olw'omusala gwabwe okulwawo okutuuka kwa kawunta zaabwe nga bino byonna bivudde mu nkola empya ey'okusasula. Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
Ate waliwo enkola ey'okujjanjaba abalwadde egunjiddwawo mu Uganda ng'egendererwamu okukendeeza obunyazi obuli mu byobulamu mu ggwanga. Mu nkola eno abasawo bayamba abalwadde ab'ebika byonna okufuna obujjanjabi n'okuwabulwa mu byobulamu nga bakuba amasimu ssaako n'okukozesa emikutu gy'emitimbagano gya intaneti gamba nga Facebook. Kino kiyambako n'okukendeeza omujjuzo mu malwaliro ng'abantu banoonya obujjanjabi.
Tuleesewo enkola esobola okuyamba abantu bonna mu Uganda okukozesa amasimu gaabwe okusobola okuba obudde bwonna nga beetaaga obuyambi obw'obulamu bwabwe, okuba okusobola okwogera n'abasawo baffe ba doctors era n'abasawo abakugu mu by'eddagala oba bayite pharmacist.
Omukulu ono nga musawo mukugu agamba nti enkola eno kati nga yakamala emyezi 7 bukyeggunjibwawo mu Uganda yakulongoosa ebyobulamu mu ggwanga nga bayita mu tekinologiya ow'omulembe.
Abantu abasinga tebalina busobozi, either tebalina ssente oba tewali malwaliro kumpi nawe bali, naye nga ate balina ebintu bye bandyagadde okumanya ebifa ku bulamu bwabwe.
Bakuba amasimu nga babuuza ku nsonga zabadde nabo nga batuulirira nenga tebalina gwe bazigamba kubanga bali wala. N'engeri gye kiri nti ffe tukozesa amasimu n'omuntu ali ewala aba asobola tutuukirira.
Erias Owoli yakakuba essimu emirundi egisukka mu 2 ng'ayambibwa.
Omulundi ogwasooka nali njagala kumanya bikwatagana na lususu lwange era bandagirira w'okulaga. N'ogwaddako nali n'ekintawaanya ne bampabula.
Yes, this is Joseph speaking. Who am I speaking to?
Abasawo bano abakugu bagamba nti n'abo abeetaaga obuyambi bw'omu bwangu oba emergency mu luzungu babayamba.
Database yaffe ebeeraga essimu gyevudde gyakubidde ne clinic oba eddwaliro erimu ly'okumpi. Ne tukubira eddwaliro eryo ne tubategeeza tufunye essimu ng'eva w'omulwadde bw'ati neera twagala muyambe. Kati n'omulwadde tumukubira essimu tugamba tukubidde abeeno ne tutegeeza Doctor oba nurse ali wano akulinze.
Catherine, are you there?
Abakugu bano tebakoma kutuula wano ku call center. Nabo bakola mu malwaliro amalala nga Mulago era oluusi bo bayinza okukuwa endagiriro n'obudde n'obasanga gye baba bakoledde.
Nze nakuba n'enjogera eddakiika nga 3 naye airtime naggwako. Ekirungi baddamu ne bankubira. Wabula sikiwa oba buli muntu asobola okukuba essimu.
Omuntu oba otadde ku airtime ku ssimu katugambe wa 10,200 osobola okwogera n'abasawo baffe okumala eddakiika nga 6 oba nga 7 n'otakozesa transport mungi ogenda ng'otambula okuva ewantu ewamu okudda ewaalo.
Okuggyako amasimu bagamba nti beeyambisizza nnyo emikutu gy'emitimbagano gya internet okuyamba abantu ab'enjawulo.
Most of the time they spend on the internet.
Bannayuganda abasinga bali wansi wa myaka 30 ate nga bettanira nnyo internet omuli okubeera ku Facebook ne Twitter era eno twogerera ddala nabo akabanga kanene.
Ekikulu kya byonna kiri nti abakugu bano kye batakuyambidde ku ssimu basobola okukulagirira w'osobola okufunira obujjanjabi okusinziira ku kiki ekiba kikuluma nawa w'obeera. Florence Alwimba, NTV ku ssaawa emu.
Ate nga NTV eyongera okutalaga ebitundu olwaleero tukutuuseeko tukuleetedde ekizinga Bussi nga ku kizinga kino teweesanga nti abakyala be bagabira abaami ebiyungu. Omwami Kakutanda n'oyosa olw'ekiyungu kyo oba ekyanya kiba kiweddewo nga omukyala agenda wa mulala. Abasasi baffe bakava eruye era kabatubuulire ekifa ku kizinga ekyo ekiyitibwa Bussi.
Kyatutwalidde eddakiika nga 45 mu lyato okutuuka ku kizinga Bussi mu disitulikiti y'e Wakiso nga buli omu ku ffe yasasudde ennusu 50,000. Okutambula ku kizinga kino kizibu nnyo kuba emmotoka ntono nnyo nga buli ayagala okugipangisa alina kulaalika nnyiniyo. Emmotoka ya buyonjo entono etulamu abantu 8 oba 10 era nga abataagala kubanyiga abo tebatuula. omulimu ogusinga ebussi gwa buvubi era nga abavubi bwe bazuukuka nga bataggulula obutimba bwabwe. Okumala ebbanga nawookera wa siriimu abadde agoya abatuuze ku kizinga bussi nga kirowoozebwa nti kino kiva ku nneeyisa y'ababeerayo. Harriet Wamera ow'emyaka 30 agamba nti asussizza mu myaka 10 ng'abeera ku kizinga bussi. Ono agamba nti kizibu ddala omukyala okuba n'omwami omu bw'aba abeera bussi.
Osangayo ng'omukyala akozesa abaami abasukka mu 4 naye nga kyanoonya ki anoonya kwebeezaawo n'olaba nti bwe mba nina omwami wange nfunayo omulala nangulira ebizigo nenfunayo omulala nampeza enviiri kubanga ffe abakyala okunyirira butunyirira tuba tuwulira nga buli kimu kiri bulungi.
Wamera agamba nti nkola ya bulijjo abakazi b'e Bussi okuwa abasajja ebiyungu.
Oyo w'ekiro yeewomaka mwe nafumbirwa oyo gwembeera naye kati bano bo mbafunira obudde obwabwe ng'ogyeko ow'ekiro so obwemba ate nga budde bwa wakiro oba bwa wakiro weewaka kubanga bamanyi obudde obwewaka bwabaawo nensobola okuba nga ndina oweewaka saabalala manyi n'obudde bwavaawo nagenda mu mazzi kati nange nensobola okumiitinga bano abalala.
Ono agamba nti buli mukyala alina abaami be era nga n'okulwanaalwana singa wabaawo bakazi banne abaagala okubasigula. Wabula Wamera agamba nti yadde ng'enkola y'e Bussi y'abakyala kuganza abasajja bangi kibayisiza ddala bubi okubayita bamalaaya anti n'abasajja okubawa ensimbi basinziira ku ndabika.
Bantu bano abaami bano betwagala buli omu ayina sente tezenkanankana ate nabo balaba ne bagamba nti kati nganze Harriet noga Harriet oyo bwe muwe emitwalo ng'ebiri giyinza obutamubeerera nsonga kubanga bamanye enfuna zaffe olosi kuba kati nyinza okuba n'omwami wange nga yanteerawo edduuka kati nga balaba emitwalo 2 si nsonga nnyo kati nga wasitukira mu mitwalo nga 7 okugimpa ng'agamba ezo zijja kuntengula nga ate of course naye bwazite 7 okumpa obuwi nga mwaniriza esonga eriyo naye abalala bebawa 2 n'asanyuka nnyo.
Enjogera y'okulya ensimbi ekivubi etuukirira e Bussi anti abavubi oluva mu nnyanja ne baziwaayiwa mu bakyala mu ngeri y'omugenzi Kafeero gye yayimba ey'okulaga dduniya nga bwe bali abalenzi b'ennusu.
Ngaffe abavubi obuzibu bwe tufuna abasajja tuli bangi ate abakyala baki batono n'osanga ng'omukazi omu aliko abasajja 5 okiraba. Kati ngaffe abavubi kyetusaba gavumenti kyokutuyambako etuweereza obupira bwa lifeguard condom nga bungi.
Abatuuze ku kizinga Bussi bagamba nti omuntu bw'afuna akawuka akaleeta obulwadde bwa mukenenya akikuuma nga kyama.
Nga bwe mba nga ndi HIV positive sagala omwami wange amanye kati ng'eddagala eryo ndinona nganze kati ndina n'okumubaza obudde bwataliwo nsobola okufuna boda mangu nziruka ekisaba kuba bamanyi nti kwolwo bajja kujja at least nemuga nti ndi mulwadde kiraba nengenda mudoyo ng'agenze ku treatment so nze ngenza kufuna ki eddagala.
Okufuna eddagala eriweeza ku bulwadde bwa siriimu nakyo kizibu kuba liri mu ddwaliro lya gavumenti eryesudde ebbanga. Wabula ab'e Bussi bagenze bafuna essuubi nga kati waliwo ebitongole ebibatuukirira okubabudaabuda okubakebera akawuka ka mukenenya ko n'okubawa eddagala eriweweeza obulwadde obwo.
Tulina okulituuka mu bitundu ebya Uganda ebizibu nnyo okufuna obujjanjabi n'obuyambi ebitundu ebibeeramu abantu abasobola okufuna amangu akawuka ka mukenenya ate n'abantu abo tubayambe tubatuuseeko obuyambi okusinziira mirimu gye bakola nga tasobola kulaba bwatuukira ogenda mu ddwaliro ng'ali bubi twagala tubatuuki nga tebanaba kulwala nga tebanaba kufuna kawuka tubabuulire kye balina okukola okulaba nti bafuna akawuka ako.
Enkola eno egenda ebunyisibwa ne ku bizinga ebirala.
Ekyo kyekizinga ky'e Bussi abakyalo b'abakazi gye bagabira ebiyungo. Munnamagye yaganyuka naggalirwa oluvannyuma lw'okulangirira nga bw'agenda okuvuganya Pulezidenti Museveni ateereddwa nga tewali musango gumuguddwako wabula n'awera nga bw'agenda okwesimbawo mu kalulu ka 2016. Kapiteeni David Ruhindi Magulu agamba tagenda kukkiriza bantu ba lubato mu kibiina kya NRM kudibaga ggwanga lino era balina okugenda mu kkooti okuwakanya ebyasalibwawo ekyankwanzi gye buvuddeko.
Oluvannyuma lw'okumala ssabbiiti 3 ng'akomibwa mu kaduukulu ka poliisi olw'okusaalimbira mu nkambi y'ekyankwanzi, Kapiteeni David Ruhindi Magulu agambye nti kino tekigenda kumujja ku mulamwa era waakukomawo okuvuganya Pulezidenti Museveni mu kulonda kwa 2016.
Nkusaba muzeeyi Museveni kyusa ku mbeera zo teeka gendera mu mateeka eggwanga lino emyaka gy'osigaza emitono gikulemberere mu mateeka tambulira ku ssemateeka tambulira mu demokurasiya
Kapteni Magulu agamba nti kaberubale kabe Katonda tegenda kukkiriza Pulezidenti Museveni ne banne kugenda mu maaso n'ebyo bye baasalawo mu kabondo kaabwe ak'ekyankwanzi era baakubiwakanya mu mbuga z'amateeka.
Ngenda kwesimbawo era kubanga ekyo kye mwakola kyenkwanzi tugenda kukiwaganya mu kooti, genda mu kooti yesema vuno eby'amateeka tukichalenjinge.
Ono yadde ebigambo bye bibadde ng'ebyolusaago naye ategeezezza nga bw'agenda okukunga abantu balwanirire eggwanga lino okuliza ku mulamwa.
Abantu bagenda kwekyawa, tuveeyo tulwane, tetugenda kutuula. Teri asobola kutuula n'oleka ng'eggwanga olaba ligenda mu katyabaga ate ng'omuntu omu yalitwalamu, tetugenda kukikkiriza.
Kyokka minisita avunaanyizibwa ku nsonga za ofiisi ya Pulezidenti Frank Tumwebaze agambye nti Magulu okugenda ekyankwanzi yagendayo mu bumenyi bw'amateeka kubanga si wa kibiina kya NRM.
Mwawule abantu abali serious n'abaagala kweraga, abaagala nabo babalabe. Kati omujaasi oba captain oba meja n'ekibiina ky'obufuzi bigata bitya? Etteeka lyaffe ligamba bw'obeera mujaasi tugenda mu kibiina kya bufuzi oba NRM oba DP oba ki. Kati yavaawa.
Kyenkwanzi nina olukusa kifo kya kukoleramu mirimu gya ggwanga kya kusomesezamu by'obufuzi bwa Uganda. Ekifo kyonna ekya gavumenti omuntu soso agamba muwese osalimbira mu kifo ekyo bwanga olina ensonga za kutwalayo. Ensonga za ntwala Kyenkwanzi nali ngenze kubanja Muzee Museveni.
Tumwebaze ayongeddeko nti bw'abanga eddembe lye lyalinyirirwa agende mu kooti yerwaneko.
Ekisooka tolina lukusa kugenda wotolina kugenda. Abantu balina meeting zaabwe toli memba n'ogendayo. So kati bw'aba agamba eddembe batyobodde eddembe lye amanyi waayita agende mu kooti alina balooya.
Dini Lobo Wasava, NTV ku ssaawa.
NTV ku ssaawa tukyagenda mu maaso naye ekyo tekitugaana ate kuwummulamu katono mu kudda tulyoke tukutuuseeko amawulire amalala ge tulina mu bungi nga mulimu ne gano gotasaanye kusubwa. Abayizi mu masomero ga gavumenti e Namayingo basiba bazanya. Abasomesa basiba banoonyereza ku by'okugibwa ku nkalala z'abakozi ba gavumenti. Omusaala oguwedde tebanagufuna.
Yeetagisa bali baali mukomera babanoonye bajje bayogere kituufu.
Okutibwa kw'omugenzi Wilberforce Wamala mu kitundu kyaffe ekyokuna tukuleetedde Ben Ziwa eyali dereva w'omugenzi agambibwa okubaako ne kyamanye ku kufa n'okubuzaawo embwa ze yali mukama we.
She was molested when she was 6 by someone she trusted.
The doctors finally walked into the door. They basically were telling me that she had a 5% chance of living.
I couldn't understand how somebody that tells you they loved you, that held you as a child, could abuse you.
Tommy Scott grew up among gang violence, drugs, and poverty in the projects of South Central Los Angeles.
I felt not normal, not good. I wasn't lovable.
As a teen, Melissa discovered that drinking gave some relief.
Tommy is free today and continues to tell people that it was Jesus who changed his life.
The time I spent in prison, I spent putting my ideas together on, how I was going to come back and make it all right.
And I realized my purpose, that I was created to reflect the glory of God.
Duke now realizes why God kept him alive.
These were real people facing desperate situations, just like you and me.
Jesus died to set you free, and he can give you a new heart.
NTV ku ssaawa emukulikayo mu kuwummulamu okwo era ke tugende mu maaso n'ekitundu kyaffe ekyokubiri. Abasomesa ba primary abawerera ddala mu disitulikiti y'e Namayingo ebyokusomesa abaana babivuddeko ne batandika kulondoola misaala gyabwe oluvannyuma lw'amannya gaabwe okugibwa ku nkalala z'abasomesa nga n'omwezi oguwedde tebasasulwa. kino kireetedde abayizi mu masomero ga gavumenti mu disitulikiti eno ebyokusoma kubivaako nga babeera mu kuzannya olw'ensonga nti abasomesa basiiba mu kwetawula ku woofiisi z'abakozi okusobola okutereeza ensonga ezibaluma.
Abasomesa ba primary bangi mu disitulikiti y'e Namayingo bajjibwa ku lukalala lw'abasomesa nga bano basangiddwa mu woofiisi yakulira okulambula amasomero nga banoonyereza ku nsonga eno. Abasomesa bano bagamba nti omusaala gw'omwezi oguwedde tebaagufuna.
I have been deleted without a proper reason. I'm teaching, I have children who are learning in the university.
Again, they have deleted me. The reason unknown. Wherever you ask the bosses concerned, they don't tell you the exact thing.
Because we would be in classes at this time, but we imagine we are here. And who loses at the end? The pupil.
Not got salary for Feb, and we don't know why we have disappeared from the payroll. Neither the personnel knows.
Abayizi basiba wabweru mu kuzannya olw'ensonga nti abasomesa basiba beetawula mu woofiisi ezivunaanyizibwa ku lukalala lw'abakozi ba gavumenti. Akulira abakozi David Kyeyago agamba nti bali mu kugezaako okulaba nga bagonjoola ensonga y'abakozi.
I know of at least between 30 and 40 teachers who have not been paid, and we are working with the ministry responsible. That's the Ministry of Public Service to have these issues sorted out.
Ate bo bannabyabufuzi ab'oludda oluvuganya gavumenti bakubye olukungaana mu kibuga ky'e Masaka mu kaweefube w'okukunga abantu okwenyweza okusobola okusigukula Pulezidenti Museveni mu buyinza mu kalulu ka 2016. Bano bakalukuse Pulezidenti Museveni ne gavumenti ye nga bwe batubizza eggwanga lino mu bizibu ebitagambika. Wabula babadde bali ku bino nga poliisi basaliisa ow'endali lya Ssensekere era nga yayungudde abawanvu n'abampi singa wabaawo akacyankalano konna akakolebwa mu kifo kino.
Gavumenti eno gye mulaba kubanga abangi balaba Museveni nga bagamba nti omusajja talina gy'alaga. Museveni yaggwa dda. Twewagale, ffe abaagala enkyukakyuka twewagale. Omusajja taliiwo, he's that there hanging at the top.
Bino ebyogamba nti oli paka last, oli tewali paka last. Katonda yekka ye paka last kubanga talina ntandikwa talina nkomerero.
Our country is in very deep crisis. Our country is in a state of complete brokenness. Setting free our country requires us coming together as Ugandans who care for our country, coming together.
Mwebale nnyo ddala, mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
Do olunaku lw'eggulo twakomekereza nga omu ku beenyigira olunaku lw'eggulo twakomekereza ng'omu ku bagambibwa okwenyigira mu kutta omugenzi Wilberforce Wamala akwatiddwa. Kigambibwa nti Ben Ziwa yali dereva wa Wilberforce Wamala. Mu kitundu kyaffe kino ekyokuna tukutuusaako ekyabaddewo nga poliisi ezinzeeko ekifo Ben Ziwa gye yeekweka oba gye yakweka embwa z'omugenzi e Nateete.
Omugenzi yali alina embwa bbiri era ng'omukozi gwe zaali zimanyi naye yattibwa n'omugenzi. Kigambibwa nti embwa zaali zimanyi bulungi ne ddereva w'omugenzi Ben Ziwa era nga zaali teziyinza kumukolako bulabe era nga kiteeberezebwa nti eno y'ensonga lwaki mu kutta omugenzi tewali mbwa yaboggola. Wabula oluvannyuma lw'okutta omugenzi Wamala embwa zino tezaasangibwa mu maka. Poliisi mu kunoonyereza kwayo okufuna ebizibiti ebibatuusa ku ani yatta Wamala bazudde embwa y'omugenzi nga yali yakwekebwa eyali ddereeva Ben Ziwa. Poliisi yakwatidde Ziwa e Nateete gye yabadde amaze akabanga nga yeekukumye. Babisuddemu engatto wamu ne poliisi eyazinze ekifo Ziwa we yakweka embwa kati ekifuuse ekizibiti. Ekyebuzibwa kiri nti Ziwa yajjawo embwa y'omugenzi ng'ate yeegaana okwenyigira mu kutta Wamala.
Let him go. No, he's going. Come here. Okay. Why? No one is going to enter. No one. You remain. You remain.
Mu kulondoola ensonga zino, abavubuka bakakkanya ku mmotoka yaffe ne bagikuba amayinja n'okutuwendulira embwa. Kigambibwa nti Ziwa yali yatwala embwa bbiri naye endala agamba mbu yafa. Omu ku bapoliisi atategerekese mannya yabadde tayagala tukwate ebigenda mu maaso nga Ziwa atwalibwa ku poliisi e Nateete yatuuse n'okuwera nti ayinza okutukuba amasasi.
You go ahead and shoot. You said you can shoot.
No, it's okay. This is a police station.
You go ahead and shoot.
It must be in order.
And you are saying you can shoot.
Like a villager.
You are saying you can shoot. You shoot.
Oluvannyuma Ziwa yatwaliddwa ku poliisi ya Jinja Road gye yabadde asuubira okukuumibwa. Ensonda wabula zitegeezezza nti abanene abagambibwa okwekika mu musango guno baatadde Ziwa kakalu ka poliisi era nga we twogerera alya butaala. Ssentebe w'e Muyenga naye yatubuulidde nti olw'abanene abeekiise mu nsonga zino, poliisi y'e Muyenga yafuna ebiragiro obutassa kiragiro kya kkooti mu nkola eky'okuwa nnamwandu Elizabeth Wamala eby'obugagga by'omugenzi ebisangibwa e Muyenga.
Naye ekizibu kiri awo, poliisi ensonga zava wano kati ziri mu Kampala ku KMP era simanyi lwaki tebayamba ono omukyala. Omanyi mu nkola ya poliisi gye ndaba wano waliwo oluusi bagamba orders from above. Ekintu ekyo IGP yakirwanisa nnyo naye mu butuufu kikyakola mu poliisi. Katwogere mazima, order from above. Oyinza okutandika omusango wano gwa wano naye kati olaba ate ofisi ya waggulu ejja neekola ki? Nejjo wano wali omusango ba PSO bazze ne bawamba fayiro ku musango gwali wano.
Wabula kinajjukirwa nti Hasimu Sali eyattibwa mu kaduukulu ka poliisi yayogera mu maaso g'omulamuzi abaamutuma okukettewa Wamala.
Kyemmanyiiko akatono, kyemmanyi Ben ne Mama Debula Jole, Mama Debula nga naye ndi mukola ekintu.
Kintu ki?
Ekintu ekyo kati nze nkimanya nti yali pulaani ya kumutta.
Omwabi wa gavumenti atutegeeza nti obujulizi obwamuweebwa bwali tebumala kutwala basongeddwamu olunwe okubaako ne kye bamanyi ku nfa ya Wamala mu kkooti.
So far we don't have the kind of evidence that we could take any of the alleged suspects to court against any of the suspects, and the suspects are many, arrested on the basis of suspicion that they were involved.
Jingo Francis, NTV, Kusawemo.
NTV Kusawemo bwe tutyo bwe tunoonyereza ku nfa y'omugenzi Wamala. Tujja kuba twongera okulaba singa babaawo ekyala ekinaaba kizuuliddwa ojja kuba okifuna ku NTV Kusawemo. Tukyagenda maaso naye njagala tuwulemu katono ddala ate mukudda ogenda kuba omanya ebivudde mu nsike y'ebyemizannyo.
The average age of the entire national team is under 18.
Well, and so the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain Division 2.
probably that's the only thing that can make 1 or 2 rugby fans smile, that the Cobs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players, and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
NTV kusawe mukulikayo mukumulamu okuke tugende mu maaso n'ebivudde mu nsiike y'ebyemizannyo. Mount St Mary's Namagonga beddiza ekikopo ky'empaka z'omuzannyo gwa lacrosse oluvannyuma lw'okuwangula bannaabwe ab'ennabisunsa mu mpaka ezibadde ku ssomero lya Vienna Enalia. Empaka zino ezibadde z'abawala bokka zeetabiddwamu amasomero 5. Omusasi waffe yalina ebisingawo ku mboozi eyo.
Empaka zino zitegekebwa buli mwaka ku mulundi guno zazanyiddwa Enalia ku ssomero lya Vienna. Bannantamegwa baazo abannamagunga beddiza ekikopo kino omulundi ogwokusatu oluvannyuma lw'okuba bannaabwe ab'ennabisunsa mu muzannyo ogw'akamalirizo. Abategese empaka zino bagamba nti balina ekigendererwa ekyokutumbula omuzannyo gwa lacrosse mu ggwanga okugusaasaanya mu ggwanga lyonna.
Kwe kulaba mbu amasomero gonna tugatuukako at least mu buli district mu Uganda, yadde twatandika n'amasomero ag'omu Kampala, agamu ag'erugazi, era kati we twogerera tulina Jjinja.
Mu kiseera kino amasomero 13 ge gazannya omuzannyo guno okwetooloola eggwanga, naye ng'abagukulira bagamba nti baagala bagongereko obungi.
Tulaba expansion kwegamba okugaziwa mu masomero amalala 19, era nga we twogerera kati batica, abasomesa ne ba headmaster abakola ku by'emizannyo mu masomero tubadde tuwanyisa empuliziganya nabo. Guno omuzannyo bagwagadde nnyo ogula mu masomero amalala ne batuyita tugende tugutandike mu masomero gaabwe.
Uganda yayitibwa okwetaba mu mpaka z'ekikopo ky'ensi yonna mu muzannyo gwa lacrosse ezigenda okubeera mu ssaza lya Denver, Colorado mu mwezi ogw'omusanvu. Ekya ttiimu y'eggwanga okwetaba mu mpaka z'ensi yonna kisuubirwa okwongera okuwa omuzannyo guno ettutumu mu ggwanga. Sam Mpoza, NTV.
NTV kusawe mu olw'obudde awo tetuyinza kusukkawo olunaku olwaleero. Nze Patrick Mukasa wabula nga nkusiibula nkugamba nti gwe awunzika ecupa wunzika nga weebalira, kubanga bw'onoonywa ate n'ogangayira enkyo oyinza okutuuka ekikeerezi ku mulimu ne bitakutambulira bulungi. Weeraba.
She was molested when she was 6 by someone she trusted.
The doctors finally walked into the door. They basically were telling me that she had a 5% chance of living.
I couldn't understand how somebody that tells you they loved you, that held you as a child, could abuse you.
Tommy Scott grew up among gang violence, drugs, and poverty in the projects of South Central Los Angeles.
I felt not normal, not good. I wasn't lovable.
As a teen, Melissa discovered that drinking gave some relief.
Tommy is free today and continues to tell people that it was Jesus who changed his life.
The time I spent in prison, I spent putting my ideas together on, how I was going to come back and make it all right.
And I realized my purpose, that I was created to reflect the glory of God.
Duke now realizes why God kept him alive.
These were real people facing desperate situations, just like you and me.
Jesus died to set you free, and he can give you a new heart.
smell that liquor on your breath?
Because I've been drinking.
Oda, I no go stop to the singing.
No problem. Keep singing. This singing will put you in trouble very soon. You won't believe it's the boy's father that inflicted such injury on him. Just because he stole 50 naira. 50 naira for that matter. That man should be arrested. Oh, how God. How I wish I could just see that man and give him a piece of money. Abigail, I don't care if you're chatting with Barack Obama. When you're at work, you learn how to detach yourself from that phone else to get you into trouble. Whatever. I mean, you should be happy that a pilot is asking your friend out.
My brother, I learned that 3 armed robbers tried to rob a man as he came out of the bank at the junction before the express.
Don't try to be the hero.
You won't kill me.
Do you know how long I've been waking you up quietly and you refuse to wake?
Now you can't interrupt someone.
I'd like to pray with you, nurses, being the vessels that the Almighty God has been using to heal his people.
Okay. Can someone please talk to me? What is going on?
Who is she?
See, I hate cheating in my life. I hate cheating and nothing will make me have 50 kobo to that money I already get you.
He's sworn blind that he'll never appear in an all-action explosions-a-go-go blockbuster, but Bruce Willis will have a hard time escaping his reputation as that genre's most successful and sought-after star. He is the ultimate of super-action heroes. Bruce Willis was born as Walter Bruce Willison on the 19th of March in 1955 in Ida Oberstein, a German town near the border with Luxembourg. The oldest of 4 children, he grew up in a working-class family. Although he was a very outgoing and active youngster, Bruce grew up with a stutter and found it easier to express himself while on the stage, performing in front of an audience. Rather than attend college after graduation, he worked in bars and had a stint as a bodyguard before he found his passion for acting. With a debut coming in the theatre in the off-Broadway production of Heaven and Earth in 1997, it led him to television commercials and the role of David Addison in the phenomenally popular television series Moonlighting. This role won him an Emmy and a Golden Globe Award. It became his launching pad to international stardom. Always ambitious and multi-talented, he also had a love of music. Believe it or not, he released an
Today's highlight with
New geisha with extracts from Mother Nature.
Well, I couldn't help myself. So then I kissed her.
Very good, very good.
But she rejected me. I mean, me.
She rejected you?
I don't know why.
That brat.
I don't get it.
Unbelievable.
Please help me out. They just called me.
Who called you? What happened?
My grandma Natalia had another stroke and they think that she's dying.
My mom always wants what's best for us. That's why she uses New geisha with extracts from nature. New geisha with extracts from Mother Nature.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are, or how you know these things. But one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
When the sun is rising, morning is one of those opportunities to try, to love and care, to smile. And here at Morning at NTV, we are ready to help you jumpstart a week that is ahead. Brian Mlondo is my name, Simon Kasiate, Joel Senyonyi, Mabel Kebirunji, Daka Bachigongo at hand to make sure that Monday is not just a day that we all dread, but a day we love. Coming to you live from the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop, this is the hottest ticket in town to start your day. But let's start today's day with the question of the day. Good morning. There you go. Today's question of the day. Name the oldest and the largest solitary volcano in East Africa. Name the oldest and the largest solitary volcano in East Africa. The first 5 respondents to this question will each walk away with some goodies from Morning at NTV. Get texting to 6565. Leave your name and the correct answer. And of course, go to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Let us know what the answer is. You can also tweet us at Morning at NTV. Feel free to tag us at MBGold2, at Kasiate, at Joel Senyonyi, at Mebkeb, and at Dakabachigong. Of course, at NTV Uganda, don't forget that. That is the mother handle. Let's cross over to Mabel Kebirunji at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center with some of the stories that are making headlines. And when we come back, we'll have the press review. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Brian, and a good morning to you. We hope you're smiling this Monday morning. Thank you for joining us on air or online. Welcome to the program that kickstarts your day. We'll take a look at the news making headlines. Health workers across the country have laid down their tools over delay in receiving their salaries. Captain David Maguru says he's contesting to bring to an end what he calls the unconstitutional rule of tyranny. And the CIID says the police have completed a probe into a case of forgery in which a Kenyan governor is involved.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
It has emerged that health workers across the country have laid down their tools over delay in receiving their salaries. Many health workers are said to have gone for 3 months without pay due to changes in the payment system instituted by the Ministry of Public Service.
Mulago Hospital's Ward 4B had only this doctor attending to quite a number of patients for the 1 hour that was spent here. Just a few meters away is this ward that had patients with no one to attend to them. This situation was not any different in Ward 5B, where we came across this nurse attending to her other duties.
The challenge was that we found some names which were not clear to us, and we need to find out those people. Some of them may be our employees, others may be employees who maybe resigned or died or migrated and so on, but they are still on the payroll, so there is a clean-up exercise.
The delay has not only affected Mulago Hospital, but other district hospitals as well, as a result of a new payment system set up by the government.
Actually, not only in Namaingu. Last week we are having a challenge in Tororo. And the other week we had a challenge in Kanungu. Many districts have been complaining that their workers are not paid. But I think this decentralization, which will enable the local accounting institution to manage small numbers of people, will streamline this problem.
The integrated payroll and personnel system is part of a public service reform program that provides local governments and government agencies funds that they in turn use to directly pay their employees. The system is different from the previous payment mode, which was got from the central bank.
They are going to be decentralized, and they have already done a pilot with some districts. For instance, my ministry at headquarters is among the pilot accounting institutions. So for us, we manage at the headquarters, we manage our payroll.
The ministry authorities are now calling for calm among their employees as they sort out the problem.
A retired UPDF officer who was recently arrested on charges of trespass at the NRM retreat in Chankwanzi says he will contest against President Museveni in the 2016 polls. Captain David Maguru says he is contesting to bring to an end to what he calls the unconstitutional rule of tyranny created by the powers that be.
After 3 weeks of being held in Incommunicado on charges of trespass during the NRM retreat, Captain David Ruhinda Maguru has once again vowed to stand against President Museveni for the party flag bearer position in 2016.
I'm determined. I have the resolve. I have what it takes to lead this country. That's why I'm coming up as also a flag bearer for NRM, and we are going to defeat you in the election of NRM.
Maguru said he was arrested on his way to Chankwanzi to claim money the president owes him.
In first instance, Chankwanzi is a national leadership institute, it's a public institute where every member of the public of Uganda is allowed to go, so you cannot trespass.
With all honesty, that captain or major is looking for attention in a comic way. First of all, since when did he become a member of the NRM as a serving soldier? That's point number one. I think he should first go and solve his issues in the army.
In 2010, Maguru was asked to drop a suit he had filed in court challenging President Museveni's position as the sole flag bearer in the 2011 polls. In turn, he was promised to be paid, but till to date, he has never gotten any money. Maguru said that as a senior citizen, he was entitled to go to Chankwanzi.
I was arrested and held unconstitutionally and against the law for 3 weeks.
You can even question, what was he doing in Chankwanzi? What was he going to do in Chankwanzi? We had gone to Chankwanzi as a party caucus of NRM.
Maguru also told NTV he will contest on the platform of freeing the country from the unconstitutional rule of tyranny, and warned that he will not sit back as the country descends into anarchy.
And we have all what it takes to stop you. One person, you cannot lead this country again into chaos.
However, the Minister for Presidency, Frank Tumwebaze, said Maguru is a run-of-the-mill politician who is seeking public sympathy.
I think he should first of all tell Ugandans what does he stand for, what is he, and what is he doing? He's an opportunist.
Maguru said that if the NRM rules that the Chankwanzi retreat motion asking the president to be the sole flag bearer of the NRM in 2016 is binding, he will go to court again.
I want to insist and inform that committee which sat the caucus that they should withdraw, because we are going to challenge that document which they came up with in the courts of law, and we are going to declare it null and void.
The director of the Criminal Intelligence and Investigations Directorate says the police have completed a probe into a case of forgery in which a Kenyan governor, Hassan Ali Joho, was involved. Grace Akulo's revelation comes at a time when claims have surfaced that detectives tried to block a probe on how the Orange Democratic Movement politician acquired an academic transcript from the university. But the university leadership claims that Joho's papers were cleared by the Kenyan High Court.
Hassan Ali Joho was elected governor of Mombasa in 2013 on the Orange Democratic Party ticket. But his bachelor's degree in business management he obtained from Kampala University has elicited a tough war between the Ministry of Education and the Criminal Intelligence and Investigations Directorate, CIID.
Nimesomea Mombasa through a very hard way, hapa, primary school hapa, secondary school hapa, college hapa, first college Comprite, second college high grade, a little bit some university transferred to Kampala, and now a registered student in for an MBA in strategic management.
His rivals claim his degree is forged after a petitioner, Silas Otuke, filed a suit in court demanding that the Mombasa governor provides details about the studies he undertook at Kampala University. The High Court in Kenya ruled that Joe had acquired a degree in business management, but in his affidavit, he submitted papers indicating that he had graduated in Bachelor's of Arts in Business Administration.
Moving in to review this judgment at the High Court of Kenya because it is an erroneous judgment, both in fact and in law.
Therefore, the engagement of CID was to also engage technical personnel like handwriting.
Early last year, petitioners from Kenya asked police in Kampala to review the case. Investigations commenced shortly after. Amongst the fresh allegations Joho faces is he did not attend lectures, sit for exams, do courseworks, or dissertations. The Directorate of CIID registered a case on the alleged fraudulent issuance of a degree by Kampala University. But before they could proceed, they received letters from high-profile officers demanding that they back off. In these correspondences, there was an argument that CIID should not resurrect a case after the High Court in Kenya cleared Joho's academic papers. However, when President Museveni visited his counterpart Uhuru Kenyatta in Mombasa, some women expressed discontent on how the case of Joho had been handled. There was also fear that this could taint Uganda's image as an education hub in the region.
Today, as a parent, I feel pain when my daughter or my son goes for an interview and is told, a Ugandan degree, we have to investigate it.
According to sources privy to the investigations, President Museveni ordered CIID to unravel the truth.
I have even given more information on the discrepancies that can be seen on the documents that Hassan Ali Joho has vis-a-vis the documents that other students have.
We hope they will be prosecuted, and very soon we are looking forward to the cancellation of that degree so that between the two countries, this education tourism continues.
The Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act provides under Section 5F that the Council shall investigate complaints relating to higher education and make appropriate action. So there's wide interpretation of that. What is appropriate action? The discretion is for the Council, depending on the case, to make an appropriate decision.
Joho, a leading luminary in the ODM party, has allegedly used his connections and money to attempt and block the investigations. According to sources, a senior presidential advisor, Major Roland Kakoza Mutale, wrote to CIID purportedly on behalf of the president, asking that the probe should be halted. He also advanced the argument that the High Court of Kenya, which is of the competent jurisdiction, had cleared Joho. NTV also spoke to the Minister of Presidency, Frank Tumwebaze, who said that although he could not verify the allegations about Kakoza Mutale, he confirmed to NTV that some personnel from the President's office have abused their powers.
Officers, either working for office of the President, should never stray from their mandate. If they do, report them to us. The State House controller some time back put up a whole page advertorial warning against
State House imposters and all that. The president has been sacking staff, not once, not twice. You have heard of people forging the president's signature, not once, not twice.
Another damning allegation is some resident city commissioners and resident district commissioners took money from Joho under the pretext that they would block the case. That has since then prompted Tumwebaze to write a letter to Hallmark advocates, solicitors, and legal consultants warning that it is only the CIID and the Office of the Inspectorate of Government that are mandated to investigate this case.
What competence does an RDC have, or a deputy RCC, to investigate alleged fraud of academic documents? That was actually indiscipline on the part of those officers, and our system here cautioned them.
Tumwebaze also said that the complainants should be investigated and find out the motive behind using RDCs to investigate.
Why would any complainant, if he or she is genuine, want to take the shortcut of involving RDCs and Office of the President?
It is also alleged that Jovia Saleh, who is the wife of General Salim Saleh, has attempted to frustrate the case.
She told me that if I would not work with her and them, then I have to leave the country immediately.
When NTV contacted Jovia Saleh, she said she did not want to go on record, but treated these allegations as lies bent on defaming her. She also said that she is not interested in Kenyan politics. There is also fear that some officers probing the case have been compromised to scatter the probe. However, one of the allegations Joho faces is that his lecturer taught him and examined him in 8 course units, namely Introduction to Human Resource Management, Business Law 1, Macroeconomics, Microeconomics, Business Administration, Business Communication Skills, Business Ethics, Principles of Marketing.
I'm a lawyer. I don't think you'd expect me to teach medicine. So any prudent employer being a university would have to have regulations within its university to ensure that the right people are teaching the right subjects that they can handle.
Joho claims that he graduated in 2009, but his name is conspicuously missing on the graduation list. According to the letter written to the president by petitioners, they claim that immigration records indicate that during his course, Joho only traveled 12 times to Uganda and never spent more than 3 days in the country. CIID has also written to the National Council of Higher Education in regard to the legitimacy of Joho's academic transcript.
The High Court in Kenya did not investigate the process that led to the award of the degree. So the issue here to me, as a legal person, is the process.
The council led by Professor John Opuda Asibo claims a council meeting held cleared Joho's papers. But according to some of his colleagues at the National Council of Higher Education, they claim they were not part of the meeting Opuda chaired.
Well, the matter has been referred to the Quality Assurance Committee that I chair, and really it is very premature for one to even make any comment at this point, because we've had one meeting and there are still other meetings that we should be having.
It is alleged that the university leadership had earlier claimed that the police were not supposed to investigate the matter because the Kenyan High Court had already disposed of the case. But the question that remains, do the police have the mandate to investigate a case in which the complainants are not the citizens of Uganda?
If a crime is committed here, definitely it's best that the organs here, particularly the police, does carry out the investigation.
The former Vice-Chancellor of Kampala University, Professor Badru Katerega, filed an injunction in the High Court seeking to block the probe, but Judge Elizabeth Musoke ruled otherwise.
That indeed I am an interested party, and the university, Kampala University, and the Attorney General's office would have served me as an interested party.
Detectives grilled Professor Opuda at the CIID headquarters. He's expected to turn up on Monday for further interrogation. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
For joining us this morning, and that's all we had for you in this bulletin. We now return to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Simon, Joel and Bran for the press review.
10th day of March 2014, coming to you from the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel. It's Morning at NTV's Press Review with myself, Simon Kasiate, Brian, and Joel. Good morning, folks, and how was your weekend? Did you celebrate the women in your lives? We had Women's Day on Saturday. Joel, I'll start with you.
Yes, I did try, and we are continuing to celebrate women. Women, we don't understand you much of the time, but we celebrate you nonetheless. The other day I met a bunch of women who are saying something like, who are we? Women. What do we want? We don't know. When do we want it? Right now. We celebrate you nonetheless.
The satire, suddenly, and sarcasm of Joel will sometimes lead him into trouble. I've warned him against the women folk. He doesn't seem to take it. Well, the newspapers this morning are an interesting read for you. If you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor, the Observer, and the Red Pepper, all of them have one clear headline, and this is something to do with the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, who was as the Secretary General. Now, let's not forget that throughout the weekend, the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi did what we call shuttle diplomacy across many media houses in this country. He had interviews across town. And of course, one of these days, we'll bring him to you exclusively on NTV's flagship talk show. But let's get down to the press review this morning nonetheless. Mbabazi says in the Daily Monitor front page headline, nobody can force me out of NRM.
You know, it's interesting how the Prime Minister is moving from station to station or media house to media house doing these interviews. I don't know that he's trying to clear out his name or he's doing it in panic mode, trying to look for empathy like some people are suggesting. He's not having many people on his side because they feel, you man, you have cannibalized people. It's time you face the music too.
Joel, I can tell you from where I sit as an expert in communication, image cleansing and all that, he is doing what we call a master stroke of PR genius.
I hope it works for him. He needs it. He badly needs it.
Without a doubt, we have spent 10 days on this very morning show talking about the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi and in this light. And clearly, that is what we call brand recognition. I mean, even those who did not know about him now know about him. And it's very important for you to never underestimate the power of brand recognition. That you step out there and someone will look at you and say, this is Brian Mulondo. No matter whether Brian Mulondo is known for brigandage, is known for philandering, is known for being a charitable person, whether you are the image of Mother Teresa, or Vladimir Putin, or Obama, or a vendor on the street, for as long as you have that strong brand recognition, that will take you places. And Mama Mbabazi, you need to watch him. No matter all this bashing that goes on in the newspapers, the fact that every newspaper has the word Amama Mbabazi, Facebook, Twitter are trending with him as a hashtag, and he's going around. That is something to watch very closely.
You know why it could become an undoing? It's because internally they might think, okay, now the reason we began to hound this guy is because he was slowly but surely becoming popular. That's what some people think, and now they realize he's actually doing it a lot more.
They have become his biggest.
Let's pound him a lot more.
But you know that they have become his biggest campaigners, just like the government did in 2005 for Dr. Kizza Besigye. That at any one time, all the actions, or even the failure to carry out certain actions against Dr. Kizza Besigye, propelled him and kept him in the front pages of newspapers, and that was very important to catapult him to the to the percentage that he got in that election of 2006. But well, he gives a newspaper interview to two senior editors of the Daily Monitor. The transcript is here with you, spreading across page 4 and page 5 of the Daily Monitor. Get to know why the Prime Minister says no one can hound him out of the NRM. The Red Pepper, I think, relatedly. Is it the Red Pepper?
The Red Pepper also, the headline is, the arrested ISO boss is linked to Mbabazi and Tinye. Now, this is very bad, I guess, for him.
Absolutely. But also, if you get into the inner pages of the Daily Monitor, of the Red Pepper, there is a story where Mama is being assured that he does not know the NRM as much as Museveni does.
Yes.
Actually, it's Amama hitting at Museveni.
Amama is hitting at Museveni and saying, I know NRM better than you.
There we are.
I don't know where Red Pepper
that is in the Red Pepper.
But, yeah.
Observer similarly is talking about Mbabazi betrayed. This is Hope Mwesige, Mama Mbabazi's sister-in-law, saying
but better known to most Ugandan as that former minister that was in charge of parliamentary affairs. She was one of the most vocal chief whips the NRM has had, and was one of the loudest cheerleaders of what was then known as the Yellow Girls. This included her, Honorable Hope Mwesige. We had the Honorable Woman Member of Parliament for Sembabule. And who else? Someone remind me. It was an interesting girls' brigade.
The Yellow Girls.
The Yellow Girls.
Those ones. There is a viewpoint here in the Observer which I tend to agree with. This person says, is Amama a political threat to Museveni? No way. And in brief here it says, the success of Mbabazi is heavily pegged on Museveni's willingness to support him. I totally agree with this. You know, whether you like Museveni or not, truth is he calls the shot in this party called the NRM. If you want to outwit him, It's a head-banging project.
Let's get away from the high-sounding discussions in the political circles and get down to everyday life. We are looking at a story on page 3 of the Daily Monitor that's talking about a 15-year-old who returned to school after giving birth. Now, this is a story that could play out any day, anytime, anywhere in Uganda. That we have young teenage girls below the age of 18 dropping out of school, the river, and going back to school. Now, unfortunately, there's a developing story of what we call obstetric fistula that's bedeviling women in this part of the country, especially those who go through such young pregnancies or who get pregnant in areas where health services are very hard to reach. So you find that young girls get themselves at a position where they are most susceptible to getting this debilitating condition that has got very awful symptoms.
I was in Lira a year ago, and I went to the hospital, and the lady said some shocking statistics. They said 6 out of 8 women had fistula.
And that is the gory story that is bedeviling Ugandan women at a time when we are celebrating yet another milestone called the International Women's Day, as we did on the weekend.
The time to reflect and probably focus a lot more on these women.
Absolutely. Now, of course, further into the education sector, and yes, the big story today will be hinging around education, but let's get down to what the Daily Monitor is saying with regard to education this morning. On page 6, they say, do not force students to repeat classes. Government warns schools. Now, I want to disagree with this position. In real life, Joel, whenever you get a job, you're given a 6-month probation. You either make it or you ship out. The real world is such that they don't give you a second. They don't give you a second chance. But why you either hit it right and fast, or you're doomed for good. So when government says you should let students go through school without any recourse to, taking a step into doing things right and at the first time, isn't that preparing sissies for the future? People who will not be able to take life very seriously, know that there are devastating repercussions of failing to focus and attaining the highest grades.
I do not, first of all, I do not agree with this. I think this is very disappointing coming from government, which is charged with providing quality education.
Which it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Don't say this. In our time, you had to repeat the class. Period. There's no debate about it, It's very unfortunate that the girl from Nabingo committed suicide. But there are so many girls that have not committed suicide. There are so many girls I know that repeated class, so many boys that repeated class, and when they passed, I think they are even more proud of themselves. So this is very disappointing.
And it's actually not the first time that government is coming out to say, make sure there are no repetitions, especially with UPE. Create space because we want a lot more to come in. I don't think that's wrong. Of course, it's tethered to that story of the Nabingo girl who unfortunately committed suicide. But you see, at the end of the day, I think we need to look at this from the perspective of education is good. We need to encourage children to attain education. However, we shouldn't... At the end of the day, we need not ensure that children are just passing, getting 4s and doing everything they can. If you don't get a 4, you're a total failure. And I think that's what is playing out. That's why when a child gets... The other day, a kid got, 5 aggregates?
And was very disappointed.
And the kid cried the whole day. Why? Because, it's been painted to, to show that if you do not get a 4, you are a total failure. And I think that is wrong.
My question, Simon, though, was, in school, when a child repeats class, are they shunned by everyone?
There is obviously a stigma against repeating. You will lose a set of friends. You are looked at as somebody that has not been able to attain it. But it plays out in life. You know it very well, Brian, that today you hold this job. You possibly are receiving many more friends than you possibly will ever imagine in your life. Long lost relatives will start showing up and claiming you. But the moment you do not have this, for reasons bordering on incompetence or any other factors that may kick you out of this job, you begin to realize that once your phone rang every 10 minutes, now you'll be lucky to get anyone to beep you after 2 days.
You begin calling yourself.
Exactly. That becomes a debilitating pit on you. You begin to feel that you have been neglected. But that is how the world plays out. As the French say, c'est la vie. So the earlier you get to embrace some of these changes in your life, that if you don't hit it with the pack, then you kind of have to take a back burner and then move and propel yourself. Will you be able to get yourself out of the doldrums? But let's get into other stories in the Daily Monitor. There's an interesting investigation, not an investigation, it's a revelation by the Monitor team about ruling party MPs speaking cash at midnight. An interesting story here on page 5. That women member of parliament of the National Resistance Movement, on the eve of International Women's Day, as late as 10 p.m., were trooping to the Chief Whip's office, the Honorable Justin Lumumba, who had an unspecified cash amount she was giving them ostensibly from the president to thank them for delivering to him that much coveted 5th term.
The last time on this show, I was telling you about a friend of mine who told me 40 steps to make a woman happy. Step 1, give her money. 2, give her money. 3, give her money. Steps 4 to 40, repeat steps 1 to 3.
But I think this is more than just women. I mean, we're talking about members of parliament here,
certainly.
who ordinarily are paid through a certain office in parliament, and here they were receiving cash. And I think the issue of leadership in this country has been bastardized, to use that term, by this kind of dodgy ways of receiving cash. And I think Uganda needs to take very seriously this developing story. But you know, I would have expected ordinarily this story to be a front page, a huge scandal, people calling for these people to resign. But that is tucked away as a little strip on page 6.
Well, perhaps they're still investigating.
No, this is dog bites man. That MPs are receiving money somewhere, capooning and trooping around, getting a specified amount of money for dingy things. That's dog bite man. That happens every day.
Right. And linked to the 5th term, Anita stole our thing. That is on page 10 of the red paper, saying a group of NRM youth are saying that they are the ones that came up with this idea.
They're claiming copyright.
Somehow the
right
media
idea
is fronting Anita for, you know, Anita is everywhere speaking about
just like we see musicians crying foul. You stole my song. Somebody told me the other day that in Uganda copyright means the right to copy. So there you are.
There we go. Now the Inspector General of Police is vowing that he will not stop militarizing the police. There you have it. So if you're thinking of going against the law, the long arm of the law will be hard and harsh on you. Vote rigging, opposition calls for vigilantes. Well, again, dog bites man. In the inner pages of the Daily Monitor, you've got your usual Monday pull-out. Healthy living is an interesting pull-out you should have. The headline story there is about breastfeeding. For most part, most women do not want to breastfeed. The way I understand it is, others will argue that their children don't love the teat.
Others say apparently when kids breastfeed, their breasts get elongated and so on. This children did not apply to become your children, for goodness sake. You decided to have them, take good care of them now.
Very soon we are going to you know, look at that on everyday life. Why increasingly more women are not able to breastfeed. But you know, for I know my personal experience is that some women are not able to produce enough milk.
Yeah, that's
for us who are advised, you know, ex-mama do some breastfeeding and also
you do some
well, tagging on to what Joel earlier said, our female folk must understand that in life there is always something called wear and tear. So clearly whenever you use a body part, there is a chance that
whether you like it or yes,
it will be. I love to keep my box cut on my head and look like MC Hammer, but clearly wear and tear has relegated me to an open roof. Well, there is an interesting story playing out here in the business section of the
now that you talk about Monitor, I'm worried about
talking about a huge high-level delegation from power generating company ESCOM that's in the country to engage several stakeholders and, of course, unleash unto you the potential of this wonderful power generation company.
You have to use all those words.
Is it in
the Daily Monitor this morning? And yes, with that, we come to an interesting end of press review this morning. Let's take a short break, only to return with the big story that touches on you and me and everyone. Don't go away.
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
You think you've brought capacas omwana yena sobola gamba super deep simyaka jafe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent, that village accent. Now
okay, why didn't sign for when you got political tayaka no muzanga nakajawa
katina kambuza mukabete why are you crying nikagamba abasajja engeri gye bafulumiza mu lukwako.
I think I'm Big Mitch Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprochichi's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch Larry Hoover.
Let me tell you one thing. Will you shut your lips?
There is something you need to know about Chris.
And that I'll find my corner. Maybe tonight
I don't want him. Anyone near my baby. I don't want to see him.
Just save it. Save it.
Stop it. Deformment. That's what happened.
I just wanna hold
Listen, I don't get what you're saying.
This woman is trouble. She's going to ruin my everything. I can't even trust myself around her.
Remember who the boss is here. How can I forget? She's running after a married man and she's making me do all her dirty work.
I can't see you.
Oh, give me love, mama, give me love. Give me love like never before. 'Cause lately I've been craving more.
The average age of the international team is under 18 and
the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make one or two rugby fans smile, that the Cogs are doing well.
The players have not put on they have not wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
Oda, I no go stop to the singing.
No problem. Keep singing. This singing will put you in trouble very soon. You won't believe it's the boy's father that inflicted such injury on him. Just because he stole 50 naira. 50 naira for that matter. That man should be arrested. Oh, how I wish I could just see that man and give him a piece of my mind. Abigail, I don't care if you're chatting with Barack Obama. When you're at work, you learn how to detach yourself from that phone else to get you into trouble. Whatever. I mean, you should be happy that a pilot is asking your friend out.
My brother, I learned that 3 armed robbers tried to rob a man as he came out of the bank at the junction before the express. Don't try to be the hero.
You won't kill me. Do you know how long I've been waking you up quietly and you refuse to wake?
Now you can't interrupt someone. I'd like to pray with you, nurses, being the vessels that the Almighty God has been using to heal his people.
Okay. Can someone please talk to me? What is going on?
Who is she?
See, I hate cheating in my life. I hate cheating, and nothing will make me have 50 kobo to that money I already get you.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Time now for the big story with Simon at the rooftop.
Thanks, Mabel. And for the big story this morning, quite a very sad debacle here as shock gripped Trinity College Nabingo on Thursday last week, when news spread that the student had been found dead hanging by a mattress string in one of the school dormitories. Now it was reported that this S3 student had committed suicide after she was asked to repeat Form 3 as she had failed to qualify to be promoted to Senior 4 and sit her Uganda Certificate of Education examinations. In today's Daily Monitor, there's a story playing out there as the government, or should I be very specific, the Ministry of Education, is warning schools against asking pupils who do not hit the mark to repeat a class so they can make it better and ready for the next stage. And this morning on the big story, we are asking ourselves, is this the way things should be playing out? Shouldn't students who don't hit the mark be asked to repeat for fear of them taking their lives or doing other very unpleasant things to themselves and perhaps the school? So this is what's playing out this morning on the big story. But also we'll be touching a little bit on the teachers' welfare as well as the state of education as propagated by school owners and facilitated by you, the parents. And to discuss this very interesting discussion is none other than Mr. James Tweheo, the Uganda National Teachers Union General Secretary and my former teacher in school who taught me English.
I'm not your former teacher, Simon. I'm a teacher.
Oh, a teacher remains teacher.
Absolutely.
he doesn't stop teaching. He now teaches me that with the word teacher, you don't put a prefix former. So I wanted even to make it even more serious by saying my teacher, emeritus. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Simon.
Here we are, a very sad debacle playing out in Trinity College Nabingo. That could have played out anywhere in the country when you have a student who's failed to hit the mark, as to repeat, and for failure to accept that failure on them, they take their lives. What do you make of this situation?
You know, first of all, it's very unfortunate that it happened, and it could have happened anywhere in this country. But you know, the real life synopsis, the drama, the unfolding of real life quite often begins on the action, and then we move back to the reasons why it took place. And that's the most unfortunate part. And when I see the ministry coming out today to say, look, do not do this, when already we have lost a life, then that's the irony of it. So first of all these are happening because there is a gap that needs to be filled.
Which is?
And the gap that needs to be filled is that in the first place, when we are having these children in school, we are supposed to have remedial training, which is not taking place. Reason? Because teachers don't have the time for these children.
What's remedial training?
Remedial training is that when I come to class and teach, I don't expect all the children to understand at the same level. We have those who understand very quickly. We have those who don't understand very fast. But that doesn't mean that they are less intelligent. It also depends on my mode of delivery of the message I'm delivering. So at the end of the day, I'm supposed, by the time I close my lesson, I'm supposed to review and see, did all these children understand? Now, if there are those who didn't, I'm supposed to take a little bit of more time to say, now you, what I was saying is ABCD.
So
even outside the time of the normal classroom, which is either 40 minutes or 80 or 90, depending on the nature of the class.
But James, you also appreciate that even if you had all this remedial training, there could be one or two students that may not be able to grasp your message even after so much pumping. And maybe these are occasioned by other factors. They could possibly have been catapulted into a class where they were not prepared in terms of age, or they simply need to concentrate, or they're in a class where they need to be asked to take a back burner.
But Simon, that's the essence of education. Why do we come to school to learn? It means there is a lot we don't know. It means there is a lot that we need to get. And if you don't get all that lot, which you cannot get at the same time, then the teachers, that's our function. We are supposed to give you additional support to make sure you reach there.
So now, is this an indictment on the teacher failing on their role?
This is where the error comes in. Now, because the teachers are no longer fully there to support the process, they leave these children up to the end of the year.
Where are these teachers? Let's look at the very specific case
of outside, they are outside now for survival.
But a school like Nabingo should be one that has teachers that are cut for the job, who are remunerated.
Schools of this nature are actually the ones supporting most private schools, I must mention. They are the ones supporting most private schools which are surrounding now these strong and vibrant government schools.
Oh yes, you have King's College, Budo, and around it you have Budo SS.
Around there is Budo SS.
So you have the
Nabingo there, and around there must be many other schools. So because of this situation, teachers come to class, teach, and after that, quite often, they move out for their own survival. Reason? Because government has not put in an intervention. Actually, even in some of these schools, the parents have come up to give some additional support. Now, in this case, when these teachers look at it from that perspective, and that's the mindset we must change. When we look at it from that perspective, then we have little or no more attention beyond the ordinary classroom, beyond the marking we do, beyond the re-evaluation we do, and that's that. So these children are left at that and say, okay, if that be the case, then we have these to pass, and the children must be motivated to work on their own and move on. So when this doesn't happen, and we don't give any additional support, both academically and also socially, to support these children through counseling, through guidance, and we give ourselves time and make ourselves available for these children to appear to us and tell us, Simon, I have a problem. Now, how do I go over this? You know, by the time somebody reaches committing suicide, by the way, even psychologically, it means he or she has had so many questions and answered.
But James, here, in real life, which you train pupils to, to face when they grow up is such that when you try something and you don't quite hit the mark, you have to take a back burner. If you attempt to build a house and by some kind of force majeure the house collapses, or that you fail to get money, you don't commit suicide for failure. This very student could enter a relationship hoping that this relationship will develop into marriage, a wonderful family, and you live happily ever after. And then this relationship doesn't work. Do you commit suicide?
If you studied this, Simon, you may find that there are other factors at play. And you need to, first of all, look at all these other factors surrounding this child. It may be even from the background, home background. Maybe the parents themselves didn't support. Maybe, all those. Maybe the child brought options, and these options were not taken.
So clearly here it is a failure on the part of the teachers. Perhaps they could be a failure on the part of parents support these people emotionally, and maybe
even the community.
Or the community, our fellow students to
because the community may not be supportive. Let me give you this scenario. There may be children in a community, and the community believes if this child repeats, then that's a failure. Or this daughter or son of so and so. That one.
This community is like that.
Now,
when they
the
know,
child now should be trained.
Where I live, they say we see you on the television every morning. Therefore, you must be able to pound a very powerful power. You must be living in a big house. You must have 6 wives. I mean, and when you are unable to meet that expectation, you feel you are a failure on the path. So is it society conditioning people to strive even beyond
partly it is society, partly it is the school community, partly it is the home environment, and all those are at play. Now, our function as teachers, that's where people think that teachers are not important, when we actually matter a lot. Now, our function in this case is to study this child, first of all, to understand, to know and understand the child, to give the child the possible support he's not getting from home, he's not getting from the school environment, he's not getting from the community, and also to train this child and make her able to withstand such storms.
Well, there we have
when that gap comes in, then
but James, you are looking at teachers' welfare and saying for the reasons that teachers' welfare has not clearly been handled is the reason why teachers are taking time off. But let's look at the parents who for the most part send their children to schools, pay huge amounts of money in school fees, and in fact many of you parents will agree with me. Most of these schools not only stop at asking you exorbitant school fees, they'll ask you that before you report for term 1 or the beginning of the year, you will come with a bag of cement, you will come with 6 bottles of jig, you will come with a dozen rolls of toilet paper, you will come with all sorts of things. I know some schools which are asking for kilograms of nails, asking for rolls of barbed wire, iron sheets. I mean, have school owners turned education into such an exorbitant and, thieving industry that you guys are propagating?
That's the problem that is there. The moment you see a social service turning into a business commodity, then you know things are wrong. And it all begins with the competition that is generated so that there are few places in some few schools which parents want all their children to go there. So to eliminate some who are unable, then they put those conditions. Now, that's wrong in the first place. I don't subscribe to it.
Thank you very much.
But then the other issue is the parents who are able are the ones who even work in the government and even can influence policy, are the ones who are rushing to get this done. That's the most unfortunate thing.
Let's extrapolate
how many parents can take a box fire in these schools, How many parents can take a bag of cement? How many parents can take this big tin of paint?
A roll of toilet paper.
These are the parents who have the means and who are able. And by the way, there are even parents who take pride in it.
Oh, my child pays $1 million shillings.
Yes.
My child is very, the parent is very happy.
Simon, I can bet if you took your child to Nakasero Primary School and they told you, we want 200,000 for fees, say, is there any learning? And if you went to the other school where they pay 1 million, say, perhaps there is a lot there. And on top of 1 million, they'll ask you, now bring a ream of papers. And you say, that one is not a problem because you have the money, you'll pay.
So in other words, parents are looking at the quality of education to be commensurate to the amount,
that they pay in that school. And it is even worse. Shame. And it is even worse because some parents are negating their responsibility because they are thinking, since they pay the money, then these teachers or other workers who are paid this money should take over the role of the parent. It shouldn't surprise you. A parent who can afford to pay 1 million shillings will fail to pick the child from school in time. When he has 2 or 3 cars parked at home.
They are busy looking for an extra million.
Because either he's busy or she's busy looking for an extra million or is busy enjoying himself somewhere on a bottle of beer.
There is a divide here. School owners are charging exorbitantly.
Right.
You, the teachers in the schools, are claiming that your welfare is not taken care of.
Yes.
Where is the divide? Who is cheating who? How can we bridge the gap? Because the parents are doing their role. They are paying through their nose.
I don't want to agree that parents are doing their role. The role of the parent is not only paying. Actually, the role of the parent will be much more by being available.
But we are talking about that role that plays directly into your welfare.
Yes.
The parent has done their part, they paid school fees. But you, the teacher, are saying we are unable to meet our basic needs because we are not paid enough. Where is the divide?
But where is the basis for you to say the parents have done their role? You are using this as a basis for some few schools where these parents have paid. And where they have done that, and even been their support, the school system is moving on well. Go to Namagonga, go to King's College Budo, go to Kisubi. The parents pay, they also come in support. Through boards of governors, through the committees, you know. But there are many other places where the parents will simply pay. And by the way, there are even some schools where a child can call the parent, you know, they have asked us to buy a microscope. You say, how much is that?
I don't know how to microscope.
Then somebody says that, and the parent simply says, okay, I'm sending the driver to bring the money. You have
or
seen
to bring the microscope.
Yes, or to bring the microscope. You know, we have seen these things happen. Unless the parents are available for their children, unless we, the teachers, create some additional time to be there and available for our children. I like a certain school, in fact, Mary Hill High School in Barara. They have a system where every other day they have a consultation table. If a child has a problem, this child will come to that table. It is near the staff room and waits there. And any teacher who comes there will say, okay, can I help you? No, I want teacher so-and-so. And these teachers now will support the children.
So it helps in psychosocial help,
yes.
It helps in sorting out some academic challenges the students could be facing or any other.
There are some schools where the child will never see the head teacher. The head teacher is a small god somewhere there. The child will never see the head teacher. There are some schools where the child cannot have time to meet the teacher. There are some schools where school programs are so tight
but there is no time for any
extra time to him or herself. All those things are there and they count not only on the academic performance but also on the social element, the social lives of these children after school. And let me tell you, education is not all about the academic attainment. No, Simon. There are those who will get the highest academic attainment but be the best failures in life. So it means they have got the academic attainment, but they also needed much more than that to live on.
Well, I would never have agreed with you more, Mr. James Twehe, for that wonderful insight. And yes, as we discuss teachers' welfare and the state of education, we turn back to the biblical phrase that states, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Looks like the teachers, we the parents, you the school owners, and the pupils and students have failed to hit the mark for you to claim that glory that we deserve from our education system. Let's take a short break. When we return, it's Simon Says. The real life expectation is that you either hit it right and at the first attempt, or you repeat. And when you don't make it, you try and try. When you fail, that should never be motivation whatsoever to take your life. But also, why should we subject our youngsters, our pupils, our students to the point of breakdown where they've got to contemplate taking their lives? A lot could have been done to spare the life of this student at Nabingo, a story that could play out from any school in this country, and we've seen such reports coming from across. It takes the intervention of the teachers, takes the intervention of the school community, fellow students, to notice there is a distress signal around their colleague, but also importantly, it takes the parents to be there for their children, to know at what point they are able to take on hard-hitting circumstances that befall their lives. And all that said and done, we still continue to grapple with the social service called education that should otherwise be affordable, free, and of course able to be reached by everybody that desires it. The case in point in Uganda is that good education is for the few and extremely expensive for the many that need it the most. What can we do to bridge the gap? That remains the big question that is yet to be answered by all of us. That said, wonderful sunny Monday morning, the 10th day of March 2014. Have a wonderful day. We meet same time, same place tomorrow. But Morning at NTV continues with more interesting and insightful programming. Stay with us.
Are you and I ever gonna have a chance to be sisters?
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
Son, I'm happy you came. Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman. I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you? Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
Let me tell you one thing, Baby, don't have manyire vya Gilbert.
Will you shut your lips?
There
is something you need to know about Chris.
And that I'll fight my corner, maybe tonight.
I don't want him anyone near my baby. I don't want to see him.
You know what? Just save it. Save it.
Stop it. That's what happened.
Doctor, I don't get what you're saying.
This woman is trouble. She's going to ruin my everything. I can't even trust myself around her.
Remember who the boss is here. How can I forget? She's running after a married man and she's making me do all her dirty work.
I can't see you.
Oh, give me love, mama, give me love. Give me love like never before. 'Cause lately I've been craving more.
Oda, I no go stop to the singing. No problem. Keep singing. This singing will put you in trouble very soon. You won't believe it's the boy's father that inflicted such injury on him. Just because he stole 50 naira. 50 naira for that matter. That man should be arrested. Oh, how I wish I could just see that man and give him a piece of my mind. Abigail, I don't care if you're chatting with Barack Obama. When you're at work, you learn how to detach yourself from that phone else to get you into trouble.
Whatever. I mean, you should be happy that a pilot is asking your friend out.
My brother, I learned that 3 armed robbers tried to rob a man as he came out of the bank at the junction before the express.
Don't try to be the hero.
You won't kill me. Do you know how long I've been waking you up quietly and you refuse to wake?
Now you can't interrupt someone. I'd like to pray with you, nurses, being the vessels that the Almighty God has been using to heal his people.
Okay. Can someone please talk to me? What is going on?
Who is she?
See, I hate cheating in my life. I hate cheating and nothing will make me have 50 kobo to that money I already get you.
50 people, 50 days, 1 task.
An incredible journey of 10,000 kilometers to deliver a taste of home to Humphrey Kayange in London.
A journey you can be part of. We're looking for 25 people to say Twende Kazi and join the Tusker 25 on this mission.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me. Join me.
Join me. Join us and be a part of Africa's most epic TV show.
Twende Kazi.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
What's that?
That document.
Oh, that. Just some business.
I came to apologize. I have no right to interfere in your lives.
I've eliminated the only evidence that links me to Ivan Chinawa's death.
But you didn't have to kill another person.
It's not like I've got anything to hide, Nene. Just go ahead.
Victoria, how is it like to work for Miles Vilagazi?
Blood seemed to matter not.
Blood?
Yeah, blood.
I'm responsible for your father's death.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Coming to you live from the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop. If you're just joining us, this is Morning at NTV, the hottest ticket in town. And of course, it's only 5 minutes after 8. If you've been joining us and with us from 5:30 a.m., thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it on the 10th day of March 2014. And of course, in a couple of minutes, we'll be having Everyday Life. And of course, a tidbit with the sports with Isma and Mabel. But right now, I want to quickly go through your Twitter messages that you have sent. Remember, our handle is Morning at NTV. And let me see. At Rugut Devi answering the question of the day, and the question of the day, if you saw it, all you have to do is send an SMS or a Facebook message or a tweet. Someone here is just cracking me up. He can't know the answer to the question of the day. But I want to quickly go to a quote that at Elsie Muha, what Joel was saying, who are we women? What do we want? We don't know. When do we want it? Now. And quoting word by word, at Deco Junior 2, saying, I'm watching NTV, Morning at NTV. Emma Walimbwa also answering our question of the day. And we have a teacher in Uganda retweeting some of our tweets there. And of course, Mr. Twehe was with us before the break. And you can go to Facebook and also tell us your comment or suggestion. Mabel will be running through some of those comments in a couple of minutes. But before we go into that, you're heading out of your office, going for a meeting, or leaving your workplace, or leaving your home. Let's give you a traffic report. Good morning. Can also become a traffic reporter. All you have to do is send the picture. If you're stuck in traffic, if you're leaving home, wherever you are, update us please on our Facebook page. Just go and post that picture, or you can tweet it at Morning at NTV. You can tag us at MB Gold 2, at Kasiate, at Joel Senyonyi, at Memkeb, at Daka Bachigongo, at NTV Uganda, and we can tell people what's happening out there. But just a quick shot of Chintu Road, how it looks like right now. Traffic is very slow, very steady also. And if you can see there, past Crested Towers, onto Parliamentary Avenue, onto President's Towers, they call them Twin Towers, down to Nakumat. The traffic is really steady. You can use that route if you're going to any of those offices. But I want to quickly go to some of the pictures that you have sent us. Remember, you can also WhatsApp this picture to 0-716-730. And we have a picture from James in Bukoto. That is Bukoto, coming in from James. And we have a picture coming in from Simon at Radio Simba. That was about 10 minutes ago. Radio Simba looked like that. Yes. And, okay. our technology seems to have taken a toilet break for now, but thank you so much for sending those pictures. I also got another picture from Medi on Mawanda Road, and you know that it's always busy coming from Kalerwe, connecting on to City Oil, Chisementi. Thank you for being our traffic reporters this morning, and we'll be back tomorrow with the traffic. But for now, Mabel is standing by at the NTV studios with the birthday wishes. Good morning.
Happy birthday to you,
Birthdays are very special, and we want to be part of your special day. So today we wish Nikita Salim, who is a sales manager. Nikita, happy birthday to you. Celebrating a birthday today, Shanice Anita, who studied in Chitende. Happy birthday to you too, Shanice Anita. And Farida Muruthi, who works at the Nail Art Club. Happy birthday to you. We do expect some cake here at Morning at NTV. Now moving on to your Facebook messages, just to update you, we have 9,166 likes. Thank you for liking our page. And indeed, as Brian said earlier, our technology seems to be a bit funny. It's a Monday morning, so I think they're Monday morning blues. Andrew Mwanga says, it's sad that the country lost a little one due to a personal suicide. May she rest in peace. Government, as usual, has just reacted with a substandard message. This is regarding the big story. Asuman Balaba says, traffic jam on Entebbe Road. Imagine, from Lueza to Chibuye, I have been on the way since 6:40 to 8 a.m. Good morning, NTV fans. And Junior James says, I don't think there's anyone who wants to repeat his or her history. Repeating is like cutting in your wound. So people can sometimes go for suicide, but nevertheless, it's not the best option. Odong Joffrey says, repeating is not healthy, especially in lower O level, with the exception of those who are academically weak. Teachers are poorly motivated, hence failure of the students. Rashid Yassin says, I'm a lecturer at NTC Muni. Repeating is healthy. It prepares the link. From the unknown to the known. Alex says, morning at NTV, I love everything about the show, but let West Nile be represented like other regions. A good day. Well, thank you for your message, Alex. Isaac says, brand new week, brand new morning, brand new at NTV. It makes my day. You lead and others follow. And some people are just appreciating the good work we are doing here. Ben Emma says, good morning, Uganda. Hope your night was great. It's the Monday Blues, all new, fresh, new opportunities. And the person ends by saying, in order for you to break out of bondage, it is good morning, friends. Remember, the day you break out of bondage is only the day you decide to. So decide now for a better future. And Ismail here saying thanks for the show. Evelyn Aguti says, morning at NTV, much love. Well, we love you right back. And now we shall hand over to Brian at the Serena Hotel rooftop for the HTC moment.
We started with the goal of bringing the power of computing into the hands of people around the world. From the beginning, we were designing many of the world's first touch and wireless handheld devices. We once more revolutionized the industry by launching the world's first 4G Android smartphone. We integrated Beats Audio into our phones to deliver the most authentic sound experience, enabling people to finally feel the music the way the artist intended. We created a one-of-a-kind phone with an amazing camera that outperforms most point-and-shoot varieties. Most recently, we once again set the industry ablaze with the new HTC One. Critics have hailed the new One with its full metal body design, a live home screen, photos that come to life, and dual frontal speakers as the best Android phone of the year. Curiosity and ingenuity have defined our history, and we're recognized by the industry as one of the world's most innovative brands. We've come a long way, but one thing hasn't changed. It's people like you that inspire us to create the most innovative products in a world that becomes more connected every day.
It's 14 minutes after 8. We're still at the Kampala Serena rooftop. Come rain, come sunshine. And today we're making 1 month and 7 days on air. Thank you so much for joining us. Today on the HTC Moment, of course, you know I come up with a different app. Today I'm going to be a little bit easier because some of you are very annoyed that today is Monday. While it's a very good day for employers, like my guest today, it's a very sad day for employees because then we get to, get back to work and it's another hectic week. But this morning I want to share with you a feature on the HTC, which is the flashlight app. Now, this is not like your ordinary flashlight. With this particular app, you can reduce or increase. Now, with most flashlights on most apps, on most phones, you just put and just give a bright light. Here, if you don't want a lot of light, you quickly, slowly reduce it. If you want so much light, you increase it. And that is, the awesome flexibility with this app. So grab the HTC One Max at the HTC Hub at the HTC Hub. Okay, I'm told I should take probably a selfie and show you how it looks like. Man, this camera is just all right. All right, now Obama is all right. So how do you usually they pose for the selfie? Okay. This is weird, Mr. Producer Chaps. But also the awesome feature about this camera is that it has a countdown. So it does 2, 1, 0, and then it takes a snapshot. So you don't have to just keep smiling at 1. That's when you can do your pose. I'm told women now have a snapshot of the kiss. I think the front, like they do the lips like this. That's trending everywhere. I'll post up the picture on my Facebook page and on my Twitter. That's at mbgold2 and at Brian Mlondo. Now, if you want to win an HTC Desire 300, here's what you have to do. Answer simple questions. And this week's questions are, all right. The first question is, name any of the many unique features that the HTC One Max has. Every day I've been giving you a feature. Don't say you didn't know. What time does Soul Moment air? Question number 3. Who does Brian and Mabel host the sports segment with? Question number 4. What is the duration of Fit and Fab? I'll just go through one more time. Name one of the many unique features that the HTC One Max has. And question number 2. What time does Soul Moment air? Question number 3. Who does Brian and Mabel host the sports segment with? And what's the duration of Fit and Fab? Send your name and the correct answers to 6565. Good luck. Now, coming up is a topic that we've all been talking about. When you're starting a business, it's very vibrant, but how do you get your product out there? We're going to look at the power of marketing. Some of the things we do right and some of the things that we do wrong. And this morning, I have a very, very powerful guest in the studios. We'll be right back with Everyday Life. Good morning.
It's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night. It stresses you out. It calms you down. It helps you remember. It helps you forget. It keeps you connected. It's the only thing you own that is always within an arm's reach. Which is why you don't need to get a phone. You need a phone that gets you, and you, and you, and we are HTC.
Everyday Life is brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My great pleasure.
Owino Caleb is the Managing Director at Fireworks Advertising. What exactly do you do there?
Well, as Managing Director, my job is to create an environment where great minds can create great art. It's simple.
Wow, great minds can create great
arts.
Yes. I've always been fascinated with advertising when, I don't have to read about a product and just watch an advert and that's it. I get it right away.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
When you start a business, you're very excited about the opportunities, and you're like, oh, when I get my office, when I get a Facebook page, when I get Twitter, people will just get on board. Yes. But first of all, do we even understand what marketing is?
Most people don't. I think most people confuse marketing and sales. You know, sales is actually closing the deal, that transaction. But marketing is a long process that should start even before the product is determined. Before you even decide this is a product I'm going to be selling,
all right,
you should be thinking marketing. You should be thinking, who am I going to sell it to? Who are my competitors? And what's the one thing that I'm going to provide that the customer cannot get anywhere else? You get that right, selling becomes easy. You don't get that right, you will work your head off and you'll barely make a sale.
Right. Yeah. Where do we get it wrong? You know, we are excited about the opportunities that lie ahead, and then 6 months down the road, we're like, we don't have any money. The business has failed to grow. So you start panicking. You get a few guys to go and give out brochures. Where do we get it wrong?
I think it's that sales mentality. You know, sales mentality in the sense that if I have the product, then they're going to buy. Okay? It doesn't follow. The point is, customers out there have so many choices.
Right.
And the number one choice they have is not to even consume your product, your competitor's product, and the other competitor's product. They have that choice. Now, next to that, they have, should they decide to consume what I call the category, if, say, it's telecom, mobile, phone services, telecom services are a category. If it's soda, soda is a category. Before they decide to consume, even after they decide to consume soda, there's so many choices. After they decide to buy a mobile phone, there's so many choices. Now, marketing should be, it's about thinking it through before you even decide to go and make that offer. All right. Now, when you decide to make that offer, marketing still continues to determining who should I target with this product. There are many people you can sell a product to. The problem is with a sales mentality, we sell the product to anybody we come across. There are people who will never buy that product if you're paying them.
That's beautiful.
So you need to realize that.
Right. You talked about sales and sales and sales. Where is the difference between sales and marketing? Because I know at NTV we have a clearly now defined separate office of marketing, separate office of sales.
I think those are very interrelated. They're interdependent. But I want to say, without any bias or without undermining, professionals in sales, that marketing overarches sales. So it's sales and a lot more. Marketing creates the environment for the sale to happen. In other words, if I was to put it in a different way, by the time you are selling, you will encounter a certain perception, positive or negative.
Right.
Marketing needs to shape that perception before the sales guy arrives. Now, if that perception is negative, it doesn't matter how good the sales guy is. He's going to be facing an uphill task. Now, put differently as well, marketing often answers the question, why should you buy this? Okay. Sales will answer the question, what should you buy? Okay, what should you do with it? Where can you use it? How can you use it? And those questions comes later on. But I have to determine that, you know what, this product is for me. I'll take somebody like you, Brian. You're deciding what car to buy. Now, the car you're going to buy is not decided when the salesman appears. All right.
Yeah.
You made that decision a long time ago. That, Brian is a Mercedes-Benz guy.
So, how did you know that? I'm still waiting for Peter Igoga to crash his. All right.
So the role of marketing is to make sure that by the time you are ready to buy that car, you have decided that you belong to Mercedes-Benz or to Toyota or BMW or whatever it is. Now, sales therefore closes the deal, but the deal has been shaped by marketing for quite some time. That's the difference.
Are there particular tips? How do you even market a simple business? This guy has a computer shop downtown, there are thousands of same businesses. Or a lady that, I get quite gets quite interesting. You find many shops doing the same thing.
Yes.
But people tell you at the end of the day, each of those shops makes some money.
Yes.
How can you stand out of that crowd and ably market your product?
You know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. If you look at that question, most small businesses think marketing is for big companies. I say no. I once spoke to a taxi, chap, and he was asking me, he asked me what I do. I say, I'm in advertising. Oh, advertising, that's expensive stuff. I would never even think about it. I say, no, advertising should not be expensive, because advertising can be shaped for different entities, different businesses, depend on their need. Let me give you a picture of kiosks in your neighborhood. You have like 7, 8, 10 of them in a row. You're going to buy something late in the evening, and one of them seems to be well lit.
Yeah.
Okay. The others are dimly lit. Chances are you'll tend to want to go to the one that's well lit.
Yes.
That's advertising. That's marketing. This guy is shaping the perception of the kiosk and differentiating it from the other kiosk. So it's about, why should I go to you and not the other person? What is it? And often it's not a question you can answer directly. It's more of a connection. Okay? Connection in the sense that well lit means probably security. Well lit probably means they are more organized. Well lit probably means quality. And you're not those are not things you're going to discuss with a customer. But you're sending a very strong signal. Please come here and not the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. If you're just joining us, I would like you to give tips, because some of our people are young entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And they're starting out great. And research shows that usually in the second year, businesses die.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to graduate from their first year. So very good analogy of the well-lit kiosk.
Yes.
Are there also, master things that you must do for a business? Do I have to study my market? All this stuff. Do I have to come up with billboards? Because when you say advertising, I'm thinking, a very well-placed billboard at City Square.
Thanks for that question. I think one major problem that most small and even sometimes large businesses have is that they think so much of themselves. They spend a lot of time thinking, okay, how much money can I make, and how do I make more, and how, instead of thinking about the customer. And the question I want anybody to think about, starting a business, luckily, if say I'm talking to you right now and you've not started, this is the right time. Ask yourself not what you can make, but what can I do for the customer? What is it that they need and they're not getting that I can be able to provide? So do not enter into the business thinking that if they are making money, then I can make money. Ask yourself, be guided by, what is it that these people need that I can uniquely provide? And if I provide it, they'll be willing to pay for it. Now, marketing is it's critical that a marketing mind thinks about that. So once you're in a state where you're providing a needed service or product, you need to be visible. They need to know about it. It doesn't matter how great your product is if they are not aware about it. So how do you find a way of reaching them and exposing your product? Please make sure you're doing so in a manner that is affordable and does not blow up the cost of the business.
Right.
Now, luckily, in the age of the web, in the age of social media, and it will not cost you as much as it would have costed you some time back to run your ad on a billboard, maybe buy newspaper ads and whatever, to be able to do advertising to a small business. However, if you can afford it, follow the customer. If the customer is watching TV, find a way of getting onto TV. If the customer is listening to the radio, find a way of getting on the radio. However, if the customer is on Facebook, follow the customer to create visibility for your product.
Right. I want to, quickly kind of divert and ask you, what is the power of networking in marketing?
Very important. Very, very important.
How do you even network?
Well, I think there have been, again, people approach networking in many different ways. I'm a firm believer, and out of experience, that networking should not be a matter of meeting everybody out there. It should be a matter of developing deep relationships of people who can, you know, will be thinking about you and will be willing to support you. And let me give you an example. Going to every cocktail in town could appear to be networking. But how deep are the relationships?
We are always encouraged to go for
networking, and this I'm sharing very, very personal experience. Right. Works best if I can be able to interact with you in a meaningful way. So, for example, we are doing charity work together. All right, you'll get to understand me. I'll get to understand you, almost like colleagues. All right. I personally, you know, I'm a member of the Rotary Club, for example. Right. Now, the kind of networking that happens there is purposeful networking. We share purpose. We share values. Now, it becomes so deep to a point where we are almost like brothers and sisters. You have many brothers and sisters out there who will not shy away from taking your call. So networking needs to be meaningful. Yes, you need to go out there and meet as many people as possible, but not everybody you meet is going to be a deep and reliable business contact.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, in the coming weeks we'll also look at, there's something that you mentioned about knowing who will consume your product, even if you pay them. There are people who are, you know, and for me, you know, for my personal business, when someone tells, why haven't you, you know, talk to this one, I'm like, because I know they cannot afford what I offer. Let's look at other places of marketing. Yeah. One day, someone brought cautions. It is the most vivid example I have. And then another person just put up billboards welcoming cautions.
Yes.
And I was later educated that it's called ambush marketing. How does that work exactly?
Well, ambush marketing has been around for some time. I think it's about, you know, marketing on a frugal, let me call it frugal marketing. You are marketing on a very small budget. And you want to maximize opportunities. Now, as you know, sponsorships is a center, you know, a centerpiece of marketing. You know, brands sponsor activities so that they can get visibility, and it costs them a lot of money. Some brands may not have the budgets to be able to do it. So ambush marketing is when you don't have the budget, wait for your competitor to sponsor the event. Once the sponsorship is set, the activity is bubbling, there are people out there, you have your plan to just appear at the right time, be associated with the activity without paying so much. That's called ambush marketing, in the sense that you are ambushing competition. Now, ambush marketing requires that you are very smart about it. Because if you don't do it properly, you know, there could be a backlash.
You could be sued.
You could be sued, all right. You need to understand the corridor opportunity, and you need to navigate it very, very well. Now, globally, I think Nike has done this, you know, significantly well. They did it in South Africa during the last World Cup, in which case Adidas is the official sponsor of the World Cup. Nike is not the official sponsor of the World Cup. But they maneuvered their visibility at the World Cup to a point where 30% of the audiences that were following the World Cup recognized or remembered Nike. Only 14% remembered Adidas. So who got the most out of the 2010 World Cup?
Nike.
It was Nike, but Adidas sponsored it. So that's effective ambush marketing.
Wow. Okay, I understand. But please do ambush marketing at your own risk. And if you're just joining us, I'm with Mr. Owino Caleb, who is the Managing Director of Fireworks Advertising. And we're here looking at the power of marketing and how you can use it to make sure that your business moves ahead. Of course, feel free to ask on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. And you can also tweet us at Morning at NTV, and you can also send the text to 6565. Before we end this, anything that you can leave for potential marketeers or people that are, you know, they've been looking for that point that can just, it's a breakthrough for their business, how they can ably reach their customer, the person who can actually consume what they have.
No, I think it starts with, even before you ask how do we sell this product, I think the question of what should we sell is very important. Because if you answer that right, then it will be easy to answer how do we sell. Now, once you've determined what you're going to sell, people buy what's familiar. Okay. Go anywhere outside Africa and, you know, in Europe, in Asia, and see the reaction that happens when an African man or woman meets another African person. They don't know each other, they're strangers. But because of familiarity, you'll see them saying hello to each other. It's the same thing with products.
You kind of just sense it and you're like,
hi, you know. And it's the same thing with brands and products. People buy what's familiar. So it's very important that you develop familiarity for your product. Okay. Make sure that it's consistent, it's visible, and they're able to, you know, they can tell, you know, this is something familiar and there's no risk of me engaging with it.
Right.
Next to that, I want to emphasize how important it is to communicate what they can expect and make sure that you're able to deliver what they can expect consistently. Marketing has helped the world navigate consumption. Imagine you are going to the supermarket and none of the products on the shelf were familiar.
I'll walk out.
You know, shopping that should take roughly 20, 30 minutes could take one day because you need to open check. Is it? Open check before you can be able to buy.
Right.
So marketing helps the customer choose. Now, when the customer makes that choice on the understanding and trust that I know this and it's familiar, you don't want to disappoint the customer one day when he picks up your product and it's not exactly what you've been, you know, projecting it to be.
Yes.
So it's not enough to just communicate. It's also very important to work hard to make sure that when you make a promise by communicating, you can be able to keep the promise.
Right.
In a word, I usually say a great product, a great brand, okay, is a promise. All right.
A great brand is a promise.
Yes. A successful brand is a promise fulfilled. So it's, if you can make a clear promise, you have sort of brand.
Right.
If you can fulfill it, you have a great successful brand.
Right. Owino Caleb, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And I will definitely come also for advertising because we've seen some adverts are really, and you're thinking, did these guys have a storyboard? What were they thinking? We'll be teaching us how to ably advertise, especially when it comes to TV. Now standing by is Isma. Good morning, Isma. What a weekend that saw the man that claims to climb Mountain Dew, and this time actually climbing the Mountain Dew. Golola Moses winning that fight. What do we have also for sports this morning?
Good morning. I'm really excited about the next 7 days as the return of the Formula One season comes on Sunday, March the 16th in Australia. But we won't be talking about that today. That will be part of the topic, I think, later this week. But we'll talk about what happened this weekend. There was the Entebbe Ladies Open. Cases are out of the Champions League, while Arsenal fans all over social media think this is the year when they win their first trophy in 9 years. That and more when we get to the sport.
Well, it's 22 minutes on to 9 o'clock. Join me and Mabel and Isma in a couple of minutes with your sports. Good morning.
Everyday Life was brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
Are you and I ever gonna have a chance to be sisters?
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
Son, I'm happy you came. Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman. I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you? Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
Let me tell you one thing, Zoe, no Nabi Mani, Will you shut your lips? There is something you need to know about Chris. I don't want him anyone near my baby. I don't want to see him.
Just save it. Save it.
Stop it. Get out. That's not happening. I don't get what you're saying.
This woman is trouble. She's going to ruin my everything. I can't even trust myself around her.
Remember who the boss is here.
How can I forget? She's running after a married man and she's making me do all her dirty work.
I can't see you.
Oh, give me love, mama, give me love. Give me love like never before. 'Cause lately I've been craving more.
She was molested when she was 6 by someone she trusted.
The doctors finally walked into the door. They basically were telling me that she had a 5% chance of living.
I couldn't understand how somebody that tells you they loved you, that held you as a child, could abuse you.
Tommy Scott grew up among gang violence, drugs, and poverty in the projects of South Central Los Angeles.
I felt not normal, not good. I wasn't lovable.
As a teen, Melissa discovered that drinking gave some relief.
Tommy is free today and continues to tell people that it was Jesus who changed his life.
The time I spent in prison, I spent putting my ideas together on, how I was going to come back and make it all right.
And I realized my purpose, that I was created to reflect the glory of God.
Duke now realizes why God kept him alive.
These were real people facing desperate situations, just like you and me.
Jesus died to set you free, and he can give you a new heart.
Running out of airtime can happen to anyone. The next time you recharge, simply dial *161# to get going again.
On the next episode of La Patrona.
I'm going to be running for presidency of the club.
Prudencia, you're going up against Antonia.
Antonia and you and all of those who have always used me.
Veronica Dantes cries at her husband Yamal Shalim's casket.
What is it that you really want, Alejandro?
Woman, I would get on my knees and beg your forgiveness.
Why is that? What did you do to her?
In his will, but maybe he just didn't have time to.
Listen, I won't argue about this with you. Why are you here?
To ask you not to be so hard on David.
La Patrona.
At Orange, we know that running out of airtime can happen to anyone. That's why we bring you Wetase. Simply dial *161# to get going again. Convenience changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
oluvannyuma lwa lutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa abekika era bulala basigadde
bajja ne babakima
era twagenda mu Lukola eyo nakasongola mu Buluri twagenda mu Butale babalaaro okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi
nti mukwate obutonde obwekonkome mukwate obutonde bwa Ebola mubuteeke mu nsigo omuzungu ayogedde palamenti muyise bosi basajja
omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo kati waliwo n'emyaka egy'entondo
waliwo yakiŋŋamba
bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola
dokita buli akwata bayibuli eno ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza. For example, waliwo controversy yaliwo
tobeera mu ssuuti ate ng'oteekamu gganduula
olina kubeerako kimu
kubanga okusomesezza tumaze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina nakulabira abaganda baagala kabaka
(16 on to 9 o'clock). Welcome to sports with Isma Dakaba Chigongo, coming to you live from the Kampala Serena rooftop. Before the break, we're looking at the power of marketing. I was joined by Owino Caleb, the Managing Director of Fireworks Advertising. Send your comments and questions to Facebook, Twitter, and the SMS platform to 6565. Good morning, Isma. How's your weekend?
Very good. Very good. I attended the wedding. So probably I'm inspired to do certain things I've never imagined myself doing. But when you talked about marketing, probably it's one aspect that I admire about the English Premier League. It's probably the best marketed product in the world. Probably compares to Coca-Cola and the brands like Shell. It's amazing.
It's attracting even the Arab money.
The way it's marketed, it's amazing. But while the Premier League is being marketed that well, there's a team in the Championship, Birmingham, who in the Premier League just not too long ago. They had their owner, I think he comes from Hong Kong, who's been jailed for 6 years for money laundering. Wow. They don't know where he got the money to buy into the Premier League.
Wow.
Birmingham City. I think he's called Carson Young. Yeah, he's now in jail for 6 years for money laundering. They don't know. His account shot up from 10,000 to 500,000 without an explanation where this money was coming from. Nothing reported in terms of income accrued for doing certain business.
Well, you tried to divert the money for some legit business. Things didn't work, but whoa, that's not good. Well, let's start with golf. In the absence of Flavia Namakula and Idi Madina, who triumphed at the Entebbe Ladies Open?
It was a good opportunity for everyone else, especially with Namakula not playing, because she was playing in the Kenyan Open, and then Madina, last year's winner, opting to stay away because of work. The veteran, Monica Antege, she's won so many tournaments. She's one of those names I've had in golf like eternity. And that's not a good thing when you're saying you've had a woman's name for eternity. Monica Antege, posting 165 gross there to triumph over about 38 golfers who made the journey to Entebbe. The ladies there. And it should be a very good preparation for her, because there's a lady captain's prize coming up later this week as they send off for the lady captain. Miss Agi Konde, who has been the lady captain of Uganda Golf Union. So by the time Namakula comes back and Idi Madina and all the other girls, is that Monica Antege should be feeling very confident. And I like a thing she said in an interview after winning. She said something like, I think I would have won, because when you're on the course, you don't play against people, you play against the course. And that's one thing that every golfer will tell you. You're not playing against the scores of all the other people. You play the course, because sometimes it's too fast, sometimes it's too slow, sometimes you're looking at how you're going to play on the range. It's your putting that lets you down, not who you're playing against. So it's a bit of one of those individualistic sports that sometimes you can win regardless of the competition, provided you play the strength of your game. And that's what Monica Antege exactly did in Entebbe on Saturday.
Really did well.
Okay, now Friday was a buzz of activity in Entebbe Road, Freedom City. The man who can tear a page out of Facebook, and this time not discollocation. So are we seeing an improving Golola maybe in the future if he's to fight for a title race maybe?
Despite for me stealing the last fight that he won in Natete, because he was clearly beaten. But he was declared winner. Only Golola wins fights when he doesn't actually win them.
The man had a good fight.
Yeah, this time this was legit. I think he won genuine. And I've noticed a bit of improvement in him, and should be down to working with Isaac Zebra Senyange, the former national boxing captain. You see he's better with his feet in terms of stability. One of the things I realized in these first few fights against Andreas Nagy, the late Andreas Nagy, and all the others, is that Agwal did not command that kind of attribute of strength with his feet. You normally look like someone jumping off sponge in the ring most of the time. His stability has improved a lot, and that for me, that's the reason why he won this one. That's why the reason he beat Mugula. Extremely dominant. If you look at some of the pictures from that fight, there is no picture where you find Gola going to the floor, but there are several of them with Mugula going to the floor because he went down on no less than 2 occasions over the 6 rounds, and eventually across the 3 judges' scorecards, which I thought that was supposed to be coming, Gola won on all the judges' scorecards, and it should be refreshing for him. While he's the one who raised kickboxing to this level, he has never really been proven as the fighter as the person who is very good at the sport. And recently, I love the fact of seeing him trying to do the real kickboxing besides climbing Mountain Dew and all the other things he can do. He could look at Mabel and get pregnant, all those things. But now he's really walking the talk in terms of a boxer. So I love the fact that he's winning in a dominant fashion, the way Gola did win on Friday.
Right. Some of these pictures are really, you know, Mugula, what a shame, what a shame, what a shame. I've always, you know, rooted for Gola Moses, and my man has not disappointed me. I've always saw people give this guy a chance. I think he has a lot to prove. Well, congratulations, Gola Moses. You can definitely climb the Mountain Dew. We should be able to bring him in one of these days, and he can tell us how he won that. But moving on to KCCA, they have not won in Nambole on 4 occasions while playing on the continent. Why did they lose to Nkana Red Devils?
Sometimes you pay the price for being profligate in front of goal, and I thought in their first half performance is the reason they are out of the Champions League. People will go and point at and try to stretch it to the lack of structures in Ugandan football. They stretch it to so many things about the lack of competitive football. But on the day, I thought KCC, they should have taken the lead in that first half. They had a barrage of chances, and when they didn't score, you start fearing for them. I always have this joke about when I'm watching football games, I'm always thinking, God is so fair. You get a chance to Team Mebo and they don't score. You give one to Team Brian and they'll score. And this is exactly what happened to KCC. They had their chances in the first half. Tony Odo among those who missed theirs. Brian Majego also missed. And then after that, when Nkana Red Devils score, you start fearing for them. Then thereafter, even if KCC came back into the game through that Brian Majego free kick, is that at 1-1, Nkana know that while they are playing away from home and they could be bundled out at that stage, they just have to keep calm and wait for that second goal. Then Salim Jamal goes and gives them a goal, failing to deal with a shot, and on the rebound, Nkana get their goal, and they are leading 2-1. And from that point on, George Nsimbe didn't have a response, and KCC, their fairy tale on the continent just had to end on Saturday. Very disappointing finish, and I will look at some of the newspapers today, and Tony Odo putting it as plainly as you would. KCC have themselves to blame. They had the chance. They went to Zambia and scored twice and drew 2-2. They had the chance in the first half to get
a goal already. You know.
They had the chance to score here. They didn't take their chances, and now they're out of the Champions League. So it's a big disappointment, I think, for KCC. They should have done much better than they showed on Saturday.
Okay, moving on. Arsenal won, and I follow Piers Morgan on Twitter, and I could see all his tweets. And he shares our pain about the draws. But anyway, good news. Arsenal beat Everton, and their manager had that was Tottenham. But Wigan lost Wigan beat Man City. And what do you have to say about the FA Cup?
I get a feeling that every Arsenal fan across the world, and you could almost tell it from social media, knows Arsenal are going to win a trophy. Now,
but they don't know which one.
Something this season.
Surely, it's got to be the FA Cup, because had Man City beaten up on Wigan, then it would have been a semi-final against Man City. That would have been much tougher.
That would have been
now they play Wigan Athletic. But for me, the performance because Arsenal cannot focus on what is happening to all the other teams. First of all, they had to get their performance right against Everton, and they did. 4 goals, including a very good second half performance that had Olivier Giroud score twice. He's been berated by many Arsenal fans this season for not being the lethal scorer that they need him to be. But to go and put 4 past Everton, who have played very well this season, it's quite a performance from the Arsenal. And then when you do your things right, probably luck also falls onto your side. Because now they have a relatively easier semi-final against Wigan, who of course are the cup holders. They beat up on Man City last year in the final, and then have done it again.
But they shouldn't take them for granted.
They shouldn't, because you can only beat the teams put before you. And we can be feeling very confident. What a chance for them to go to Wembley for the 3rd time in 2 years. They were at Wembley last year. They are going to Wembley for this semi-final. And every Wigan fan will be charged for this one. They won't care who is on the other side, whether it's Arsenal or something. They'll want to go back to the final. And Arsenal, but for me, if Arsenal don't win the trophy, if Arsenal don't win the FA Cup, probably the little faith that some of us have had in Arsene Wenger will disappear. How can you not win a competition where you're playing Wigan? Hull City and Sheffield.
Didn't they lose sometime back to Birmingham, I remember?
Yeah, in the Capital One Cup final.
Yeah,
a few years ago. But this is totally different. There's been a positive vibe about Arsenal this season. If they should be able to beat upon, they should be able to win this one. They should be able to win this one. I'll say that many times. If Arsenal don't win this FA Cup,
very
probably
disappointing.
Brian should be the next coach of the Arsenal.
Oh my gosh, don't even say that. You might jinx it. All right. In the Premier League, Chelsea built a 7-point lead at the top. Man, it's stretching now. It's stretching.
They look like they're running out with this, even if Mourinho thinks they aren't. But if you look at what they've done if you look at what they've done over the first 14 games, they're unbeaten in 14. Ever since that 3-2 reverse at Stoke, they've won 12 and drawn only 2. And in those 14 games, they've kept 9 clean sheets. That's how good Chelsea have been. But on the other hand, if they are going to play Tottenham every week, then they can win 38 league games. Because the performance that Tottenham put up is the kind that will guarantee Chelsea 3 points on any day. Tottenham were non-existent, gifted Chelsea 2 goals. The defenders were probably advertising to Roman Abramovich they want to join Chelsea because they were playing the ball to Chelsea players. And if this was the kind of occasion where Roman Abramovich is going to choose who he buys, Tottenham would have had their audition right. They would be headed to Chelsea, all of them, because with this kind of performance, I tell you, Chelsea would win 38 games in the league. The way Tottenham showed up at the
Man United beating West Brom 3-0. Is that a big boost for them?
It's always been that kind of season for Man United. They get a good result, then follow it up with a bad one. We can only tell whether this is a big boost if they go and compete and probably pick 3 points against Liverpool on Sunday. Because they've failed to pick that momentum. I remember when they beat up on Crystal Palace just the other week, I thought, okay, this is as good as Man United have played this season. And then what follows after that? They go and lose to Olympiacos by 2 goals to 0. So they've got to make it a little bit more consistent. So we can only count this West Brom result as a very good one if United come out and compete against Liverpool. And for me, the attacking players, the kind of appetite the attacking players showed against West Brom is the kind that if they replicate it against Liverpool, they'll have the result. If you have Robin van Persie, Adnan Januzaj, Juan Mata and Wayne Rooney, probably you have a chance of winning every game. Now, that's for me, the bother is how David Moyes has set up this team over the season. That has been a bit of a problem. They've not set up to win games most time. They've set up not to lose games. Now it's the kind where they set up to win, and they won. They should keep playing like this.
In the weeks to come, we'll also look at where Moyes got it wrong. You know, he found a team that was winning, and he comes and he says he needs world-class players. You know, you let, because also many coaches do that. They tinker a lot with the team, and one of the coaches who called Tinkerman, Ranieri was called Tinkerman, and you know, he found the winning team and kind of disorganized the Mabel.
Well, we also saw Barcelona lose over the weekend.
Whoa!
And probably for me, this is done for them in the title race. I've got to think that I've always thought Real Madrid will win the league. But Barcelona have no business losing to a team that had not won 10 in a row. And the performance is reminiscent of what Arsenal did the other week and what Man United did the other week also at Olympiacos. Because Barcelona were non-existent in this one. And Madrid know that if they win from here on, with the El Clasico coming up in 3 weeks from now, Madrid will be as good as them because they won their game against Levante. Ronaldo again on the mark there with 3 goals to 0. Also Atletico won their game. So I think Barcelona, if they keep on losing games like this, and they've lost I think now 4 of their last 5, Real Madrid will be champions before they know it.
Well, you can catch more of this with Ismailul Mansi and Alan later at 1:30 p.m. on Omumuli. And of course, these guys, they are definitely the best in the business. I've accepted Bayern unbeaten in 49. They have finally equaled the great Arsenal, but looks like they are still going.
And Arsenal is game number 50 because they play Arsenal this week on Tuesday.
Let us. I'm very worried about this.
This is Obama to Yambe.
This is beyond Obama. This is UN Security Council. But there are games like that, you know, Bayern who have won 16 in a row in the league. Udinese just winning. AC Milan, that was awesome. Juventus, like you had predicted, beat Fiorentina, and Napoli also doing well at AS Roma. More will be coming up tonight also, 10:30 p.m. live from Club Silk on Sports Bar. Coming up, your African proverb. Good morning. I don't know who comes up with these African proverbs, and I think Ruyonga, you're doing a good job because today's African proverb is also interesting. By the time a fool has learned the game, the players have dispersed.
Who is the fool in this?
Moyes.
Don't say that, don't say that. The players have dispersed. Yeah, it's about, I think, taking lessons quickly. When you're taught something, you've got to take your lessons quickly.
Right.
Yeah, by the time you've learned the game, the players have dispersed.
I don't agree, really. I think sometimes you do need to take your time to learn. A game like chess, you know, are you just going to, okay, you move the king here, the pawn, the whatever. You know, I think sometimes you do need to take your time. And if players go, let them go. Learn, study the situation. Yes. So if the players go, let them go.
I've seen people paying for, you know, taking time to get things. And I think, you know, you need to...
I guess it depends on the situation.
The moment it comes, make sure you take a hold of it as soon as possible.
Now we're going to play golf this week, aren't we?
Yes.
But you need the right shoes. I would like to warn you, please get the right shoes.
I have shoes already. I have shoes already. Yes, we'll be playing golf this week. I'm excited. I hope I'll not be the fool on the green. And it's going to be an awesome week. We are looking ahead to here on Morning at NTV. We have an array of stuff prepared for you. And of course, look out for the big interview on the sport this Thursday with Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi. I can't wait. That's a must watch. Of course, our movie continues. Normal programming continues after this. We'll catch you tomorrow for yet another exciting edition of Morning at NTV. As usual, hasta la vista, baby. Bye-bye.
NTV, turning on your world.
She was molested when she was 6 by someone she trusted.
The doctors finally walked into the door. They basically were telling me that she had a 5% chance of living.
I couldn't understand how somebody that tells you they loved you, that held you as a child, could abuse you.
Tommy Scott grew up among gang violence, drugs, and poverty in the projects of South Central Los Angeles.
I felt not normal, not good. I wasn't lovable.
As a teen, Melissa discovered that drinking gave some relief.
Tommy is free today and continues to tell people that it was Jesus who changed his life.
The time I spent in prison, I spent putting my ideas together on, you know, how I was going to come back and make it all right.
And I realized my purpose, that I was created to reflect the glory of God.
Duke now realizes why God kept him alive.
These were real people facing desperate situations, just like you and me.
You know, Jesus died to set you free, and he can give you a new heart.